Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, as we approach the day, let us not be discouraged or timid, but allow us to approach the day understanding that through struggle and strain and pressure, we are perfected. And as we compete with others, we're truly only competing with ourselves and perfecting ourselves. With great power behind the wheel comes great control. And with that great control, we honor to you and you alone, Lord. Protect us, keep us, and may we race in peace. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Here today to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome the band Sailor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear it one more time.
Final hugs and well wishes before the drivers climb into their cars and take on this Kansas Speedway and the 39 other competitors on the track in the first race of the round of 8.
This whole having an opportunity to run for a championship isn't something that's only built over the past 20-some weeks. This is something that you build your whole life for.
Every day, I continue to make sacrifices to try and be a better race car driver.
The amount of time that your whole family puts into it and has sacrificed, it's definitely, it's a lot.
The time and effort of spending every single weekend of my childhood on the road at the races.
This sport is such a sacrifice, and there's really no guarantees that you'll ever get to the point of where you want to be at.
Those nights of not knowing, or is this worth it, all that stuff is what builds to having a shot right now to run for a championship.
So much has been invested in the possibility of a championship. Before the engines fire, let's go back to pit road. We start with Kelly Stavist.
Well, Rick, Austin Cindric starts 8th in this round of the 8 remaining drivers in the playoffs. 10 points to make up. And for the rookie, he told me that means there's no pressure. He's ready to scratch and claw his way back up through the standings. But, of course, the fastest way to the championship race in Miami is to win here today. And Austin told me he feels like he's got a car capable of doing just that. Austin Cindric in this bright yellow 22 car starts 4th today, Parker.
Well, Kelly, Elliott Sadler comes into this round tied with Cole Custer on the cut line. And he's considered one of the best points racers in the series. And that's a good thing, because if he can't win, then stage points are going to be crucial for this one car today. I just spoke to Elliott before he hopped in the car, and he said, everyone we're racing's right in front of us. So there's nowhere to go but forward, Dave.
23-year-old Christopher Bell grew up 5 hours southwest of here in Norman, Oklahoma. 4 years in NASCAR have produced 14 wins in a Truck Series championship. And this season, he leads this Xfinity Series championship. Winning 2 of the last 3 races, momentum is certainly on his side, Marty.
Dave, you want a fun driver to watch today? How about Cole Custer in this white 00 car? He told me on the bottom, we're not very good for the first few laps, but once we get about 10 laps into a run, we can run the top, and we have the best car. Let's get the round of 8 underway for the Xfinity Series. Let's crank the engines in the Heartland.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command to start engines, please welcome Kansas Governor Jeff Collier.
Drivers, start your engines!
To love it when the governor of the state of Kansas comes out and gives the command to fire the engines. The round of 8 starts when we come back. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Toyota, let's go places. And by Hilton. Book at Hilton.com for the best perks and our price match guarantee.
To be here in the championship hunt is something that I expected at the beginning of the year.
If we get to Homestead, I wouldn't say it'll be a cakewalk, but it's going to be right in our hand.
I feel like we just need the right breaks and the right job by everybody to be a serious contender.
In this sport that I've loved as a kid, it would be neat for me to be able to walk off as a champion.
And the car's about ready to roll onto the track, and we'll give you the starting grid. Up front, Daniel Hamrick, Christopher Bell, two of the playoff contenders looking to advance into that championship four. Justin Allgaier, Austin Cindric, also two championship contenders. They will be in row two. Allgaier, the 32-year-old from Illinois, and Cindric, just 20, from North Carolina.
Behind them, you have Brandon Jones, who was eliminated from the playoffs in Dover, and Tyler Redick, only 1 point outside the top four. Behind them, you have Ryan Preece and Shane Lee. Both of these guys are not in the playoffs, but looking for a win today.
Back behind them in row 5, Matt Tifft. He actually spun in practice yesterday. The 22-year-old didn't hit anything, so he's okay. He'll have his primary car still. Cole Custer, Elliott Sadler behind them in row 6. He'll have Chase Briscoe beside him. See if we can dial up Elliott Sadler, one of the championship contenders, on the radio, Jeff.
Hey, Elliott, it's the NBC booth. You with us?
Yes, sir, man. I got you.
Hey, man, 3 races to go to earn yourself a shot to win a championship in Miami. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. We're looking forward to the challenge. We know what's in front of us. It all starts right here in Kansas, and I think anytime you're going to narrow the field down to 4 to make it to Homestead, you got to put your best foot forward. So my guys have given me a really good car here, and I really like this racetrack, and see if we can start our journey here today.
So you say you like this racetrack, but this is a tough racetrack. Where do you think the most important part of this track is?
Man, you just got to keep momentum up here, Jeff, especially with these Xfinity cars. Getting through the center of the corner and get good runs off. Trying to pass people on the bottom or the top is going to depend on what lane is open, but I think anytime you can create a lot of momentum at this track, you'll be able to move forward, and hopefully we'll be able to do that today.
Elliott, I want to let you know I appreciate the eye contact while you're talking to us, man. All the fans wishing you good luck. Have fun today, bud.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.
Elliott is in a good place in his life, man. He's having fun. You get him a shot to win the championship at Miami, and he's going to be hard to guard.
We're going to run through our in-car cameras. You can see inside Elliott's car. He's got the helmet cam for Chevrolet today. Cole Custer, the 00, has the Ford Performance cam. It's also a helmet cam. Christopher Bell will be in the, he'll have the over-the-shoulder camera for the Toyota. And then the pole sitter, Daniel Hamrick, South Point Casino camera. He also has an over-the-shoulder camera. A side panner.
And while they're getting the tires warmed up, the engine's warmed up for the start of this race, let's go back to pit road and Kelly Stavis.
Well, Matt Tifft starts this round of the playoffs 8 points below the cut line. So for this 2-team, it's all about collecting stage points and more stage points. Randall Burnett, the crew chief, told me that can make all the difference when they come to Phoenix. Matt has spent a lot of time on the simulator prepping for this race, and they feel like their intermediate track program has taken a huge jump since July. So optimism is high for this 2-team, Parker.
Kelly, Tyler Redick told us this is probably his best shot in the playoffs here at Kansas. If you remember a couple months ago at Chicago, when they ran right up next to the wall, he was very dominant early in the race, had a speeding penalty on pit road, and ended up getting caught in a wreck. It was kind of a microcosm for his season. So if he has that speed here today, if they get up next to the wall and he has that speed, he needs to finish it out. No mistakes for that 9 car today, Dave.
Parker, the 7 of Justin Allgaier, we talked about in pre-race, what a weird first round it was for him. So if they've learned any lessons, they hope they can apply it here today. Well, one of them, I just talked to the team. They're one of the few that doesn't have a canopy over their pit box today. Usually that's for shade as well as for comfort. It's gone because at Vegas they had trouble with it. And they said, we tried to learn our lesson. We didn't even put one up today in the wind. Marty?
Dave, Daniel Hamrick is a rising NASCAR star. He's already been tabbed by Richard Childress Racing to run the 31 car in the Cup Series for next year. But he told me there certainly is one thing missing from my resume right now. a win here in the Xfinity Series. As we rode around the track before he got in the car, he told me, I feel like today is the best shot all year long, the best car we've had coming into a race. Daniel Hamrick going to be one of the guys you're going to have to beat if you want to get to victory lane, Rick.
And it will be exciting if Daniel Hamrick can get his first win here in this first race of the round of 8. But it's going to be difficult. Parker had mentioned a mistake-free race. Steve, 200 laps of mistake-free race might be a difficult one.
Yeah, we talk about the difficulty of the racetrack, but the race itself is broken down. 1.5-mile oval, 200 laps for 300 miles, and the race is broken down into stages. The first and the second stage, each 45 laps, with the final stage being a little bit longer at 110 laps. So these crew chiefs are going to have to find a way to break this race down for fuel mileage, but the guys up and down are going to move around these corners, Dale.
Yeah, you see these guys taking different lines. And the slide job, we might see that today. As you see it here in this race from last year. Guys are going to run on the apron. They're going to run, or we're going to run right next to the apron on the bottom groove. The middle groove is an option, and definitely right against that wall, especially on the long runs as you get some laps on these tires. You're going to see the guys running around. It promotes passing. It promotes great racing. We're going to see it here today.
Options. I just like options, you know?
That's what every driver likes.
Well, yeah, and as a crew chief, I like that you can help me, right? If I don't have the car exactly like you want it, try to move up, try to move in the middle, drive the corner a little bit differently. You're not just stuck to one groove.
And that was Christopher Bell's first win a year ago when he was fighting for a championship in the Truck Series. He was able to come here and get his first Xfinity Series win. And a lot of people said, well, wait a second, that's not the way you're supposed to race. You pulled right up in front of that other car. But as a race car driver, Jeff, if you're behind him, you're either going to run into him or let off or go around him. So don't you have those options as well?
Yeah, well, listen, that slide job, slide, or whatever you want to call it, is relatively new in NASCAR and oval track racing, and I just think that caught Erik Jones in that day off guard. I think he could have, if he saw it coming, maybe he could have just hung a left and got back by him. But the other way of looking at it is if somebody drives up in front of you and has to slow down to keep from the wall, I consider that blocking. I feel like they pulled in front of me and now they're trying to hinder my pace, but you could see hitting him didn't do any harm to him. So what's your defense? And that's what's hard about defending that move.
Let's listen into Daniel Hamrick's team communications prior to this green dropping.
First race of this new segment of the playoffs here, and it's important that we try to get as many points as possibly can. We'll battle for it at the end. Proud of you all weekend. You guys built one hell of a race car here, and we'll keep this momentum going here.
So Daniel Hamrick still searching for his first win in the Xfinity Series, and amazingly, still in a great situation to win a championship.
And I think it's interesting that he picked the bottom lane. A lot of times on a 1.5 mile racetrack, you want to pick the outside lane because it gives you more momentum through the corner. But as we watch this races today, Junior, you can pay really close attention to the guys following the people in front, how they push. You got to have a good pusher on this restart. So maybe Daniel Hamrick picked this bottom line thinking that the 7 car of Justin Allgaier can push him better than the 22 of Cindric.
Yeah, and these bumpers match up better than the Cup cars. You see a lot of pushing on the restarts, particularly as we get further into the race. Get much more aggressive as we go. This will be interesting, though, to see which line prevails. I'm sure the Cup guys are watching.
And pace car off the racetrack. Field now in the hands of Daniel Hamrick, Christopher Bell making up row 1. Hamrick in the 21 on the inside. Up through the gears they go to speed as they enter turn 1.
Hamrick didn't need a pusher. He just accelerated and drove away from him. Oh,
hard into the wall already. The 7 and the 20. 2 of the main contenders for the championship.
And Cole Custer, Cindric.
Allgaier got loose, got into the back of the 20. Allgaier into the wall. The 20 also major damage. Didn't even get through turn 2. You see Cole Custer, the focus on his eyes as he's trying to get back to pit road. Austin Cindric, so much damage to the 22. There's the damage to the 20 of Christopher Bell. Justin Allgaier, major damage as well.
You said it, 2 favorites right there, Justin Allgaier and Christopher Bell. Another favorite, Cole Custer, didn't even make a lap.
Here's a replay right here. 7 and the 20, side by side. The 7 just gets loose, goes up the track, makes contact with Christopher Bell. Bell backs it in the wall. Look at that hard contact for the 22.
An absolute nightmare for the playoff contenders. Justin Allgaier and Christopher Bell right here side by side. The two drivers with all the points in their bucket. They have the lead coming into the race because of their performance in the regular season, and they're going to give it all back right here on the initial start of the race.
98 getting in there. Big hit right here by the 23.
Wow, that was a big hit.
Yeah, Michael Annette came in there and made contact.
This is the danger. You know, both of these guys qualified well. They were right near each other, so when something happens, they take each other. But now an opportunity has been created for other people that needed a little bit of help. Let's see if they can take advantage of this. I mean, this is the last round with a shot to win a championship, and on the first lap, you get in a wreck.
First turns. They couldn't even get through turn 2, and Justin Allgaier, an issue with his car. Take a look at it at speed.
There he was. Junior said it. The 7 of Allgaier just got loose, had to chase the car up the racetrack, made contact. Nowhere for all these guys to go. But I think that shows you, Rick, track position matters. We talked about it. You got to earn points. You got to get these playoff points. You got to charge hard as soon as he dropped the green flag, and that's what happened here. Allgaier just overstepped his bounds a little bit. Car got away from him. Took a lot of people with him.
Get her driving here if we can.
Right along with Cole Custer and take another look at how this all happened.
Little checker frame. Watch easy here. Low inside. Yeah, collect it up here.
And when we talk about a list of names that this is going to hurt drastically, look at the names in yellow, all in the playoffs. Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, not even completing a lap. Now they'll have an opportunity to work on their cars, the damaged vehicle policy, but this right here means Justin Allgaier is out of the race. He already went to the garage knowing that he's not going to be able to continue.
Radiator out, Rick. That was the biggest thing for them in the 7, radiator.
So, Rick, you mentioned that damaged vehicle policy. Basically what NASCAR has implemented in the last couple of years to try to prevent cars limping around, damaged with parts and pieces falling off. They've left, that's a time limit. You have 6 minutes. You can't add pieces to the car. You can only remove what's damaged. But all that work has to happen on pit road. So as you point out, Rick, this 7 had to go back to the garage. Dave tells us it's because they had an issue with the radiator. They will not have the chance to repair that car. Their race is over. While the 00 you see on the racetrack, they have some damage to that car. They'll have 6 minutes to try to fix it. If they can come back out, make minimum speed, the clock resets. It looks to me like the 20 of Christopher Bell. That's heavy, heavy damage. Dave?
Steve, it's torn up, but the one thing that they know is that the 7 has gone to the garage. So at least get a lap out of the 20 car. The back end is very bent up. It'll be very hard to drive, but if they can score one more lap than Allgaier, that counts for something, Marty.
And Dave, same sense of urgency for Cole Custer and his race team. You saw all the damage. And speaking of that damaged vehicle policy that Steve was talking about, you have to use the original parts from the race car. So talking about trying to keep every part on that they can. Eddie DeHaan Jr., who's the car chief for this team, is going to go over the wall. He's put on a helmet this time, trying to get all the damage repaired that they can done and get it done on this stop if they can. But you see all that right rear damage. That's the big concern. And that right front damage as well. They also do not want any tire rubs, so they're going to get all the repairs they can done for Cole Custer right here.
And again, as Steve mentioned, they are on the clock, so a limited amount of time that they can work on this car, and once they get out, then they have to make minimum speed. This is what happened as they were going through 1 and 2. Championship favorites out of the race. NASCAR Drive. That is your live race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast, select alternate camera angles, or you can ride along with in-car video of your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app today. A couple of the cars you might not have wanted to be riding along with may have been involved in that accident that just took place on the first lap. Daniel Hamrick, the pole winner and race leader, was able to be out front and not affected by what took place in turns 1 and 2. Take another look at what happened.
We see on this restart, they get stacked up a little bit. You know, nothing unusual really. See the 22 on the outside trying to push Bell a little bit. But now everybody's separated. Pretty much a normal restart. So they drive into turn 1, the 20 on the outside of the 7, taking a little bit of air off his spoiler, and 7 right there gets loose, gets up the racetrack, gets in the side of Bell, and all these guys just had nowhere to go. Lap 1. These guys have worked all season to put themselves in position to win a championship, and now it's going to become more difficult.
Look at the carnage.
Rick,
and how that 3,400-pound car just gets lifted in the air on that hit.
Rick, I had a lot of ideas of what could happen today, but I didn't have a wreck in the first corner on the first lap on my list. I just expected them to be very conservative through the first set of corners to get the race underway.
You know, the 20 of Bell now, he's out. Both Allgaier and Bell now are officially out of the race. No opportunity to earn more points.
Yeah, they're all three going to finish right there together, 37th, 38th, 39th.
Let's go down to Kelly.
Austin Cindric now out of the care center, and just looking at the tail end of that replay, you really had nowhere to go. But how do you wrap your mind around this one ending so early?
Yeah, I was just looking off your playoff grid here. Minus 43 is a pretty big hole. Just thankful to be in safe cars. Thankful for everybody at the NASCAR medical staff. Obviously, it was a pretty big hit. Bigger than I was kind of expecting to have, but just unfortunate. Just seemed like a racing deal there. It seemed like the 7 got loose under the 20 and cleared out a few rows of the grid there. So just unfortunate, but thankful to still be in the playoffs. Thankful to still have a shot. I honestly felt like we had a shot to win today in our Menards Richmond Ford Mustang, but move on. Get a week to think about it. Go to Texas. Just thankful for everyone at Penske and Ford Performance who've worked so hard to get me this far into the playoffs, and looks like we're gonna have to win.
All right, well, if there's a silver lining, Rick, I said he's told me Texas and Phoenix are 2 tracks where he's really confident.
One of the other things you have to realize is when all of these favorites, multiple favorites, out of the race, there is an opportunity now for someone to gain a lot of points and potentially get the win that guarantees them a spot in the championship 4 in Miami. Carnage early here in Kansas. Coming into this round of 8, this is the way the points shaked out, because all of the playoff points that people carried in, you had Christopher Bell, 33 points above the cut line. Justin Allgaier, 28 points above the cutoff line. Well, now, after the accident that just took place on the first lap, look where Christopher Bell has now fallen to. 4th, just 1 point above the cutoff line, and Justin Allgaier 5 points below. There he is walking away already from the garage, 5 points below the cutoff line. Now, these are projected as to how everyone is running right now on the track, getting stage points in stage 1, stage 2, and then finishing there. That's the projection. That's how these points are added up.
The door is open for Hamrick, Sadler, Redick, and Tift. The door is open to go get points right now. They need stage points. They need good finishes. If they do that, they can put themselves in great position. This is their opportunity they had. They needed something to happen. They haven't had the pace of those two guys that just got in the wreck. This gives them an opportunity. They got to take advantage of it.
Jeff, I'll take it one further. Forget points. This is an automatic ticket. If you can win the race, you talked about how dominant Justin Allgaier and Christopher Bell were when it came to the win column. They have almost all of the wins when you look at the playoff contenders. Can Daniel Hamrick finally break through? Tyler Redick, the only other one in the playoffs with a win this year, is second, right? Can he win this race? Forget points. If you can go to Victory Lane, Junior, you know you're heading to Miami, and I think with a couple of the big contenders out of the race, this may be the best opportunity.
Barty, we see that 00 tacked onto the back of the field. What's the update?
Tailing the field there, Rick. Currently minus 29 below the cut line, but they have repaired the car. They used the entire DVP clock, so they used all 6 of those minutes. They came in last time to put a new transponder on the 00 car, but he stands to greatly improve his position. This is where they are right now, putting that transponder on just a moment ago on the last stop. Right now he's sitting in 32nd, but of those championship contenders that were in this wreck, the only one rolling, Cole Custer. He'll have no power steering for the rest of the race and a damaged car, but Steve, he can gain a ton of spots here.
Oh, yeah, every position's a point. It's as simple as that. Every car that he moves in front of throughout the race will gain a point. While that car looks damaged, if he can just maintain or get back to minimum speed one time, there's a minimum lap time NASCAR set. It's a percentage of how fast they expect the cars to go. If he could run that speed, reset the clock, they continue to make repairs. Parker?
I'm here with Justin Allgaier. He just came out of the Infield Care Center. Justin, looked like you got loose there. What happened to your perspective?
Yeah, same thing what you said. I just got loose, and unfortunately, just hate it for everybody that we took out. Lap 1, it's uncalled for, so that one's on me. I'm super disappointed for everybody that is involved with this team. JRM, this brand professional, Agriculture Camaro was really good this weekend, and not only did we wreck our day, but we wrecked a lot of other competitors. So hate it for those guys, and hopefully we can go next week to Texas, 2 weeks to Texas, and rebound from it.
Kelly?
All right, now Christopher Bell's just made his way out as well, and looking at the replay there as we're showing it. Christopher, how did you see it play out?
I didn't really see much of anything, just kind of driving around there and, just heartbroken. This is one of my favorite racetracks we go to, and especially after the run I had last year, this was the race that I was really looking forward to whenever we started the year back in February. But, our Ream Camry was fast throughout practice. We qualified second, so felt like we were going to be able to contend for the win, but I think this is actually, it's not the first time I've been out on the first lap. But anyway, try and make up for it at Texas, and we still got a lot of racetracks that I can win races at, so hopefully move on from here.
Makes those extra playoff bonus points that you scored in the last round all the more valuable as we once again get another look at it.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of this format. NASCAR's done such a great job at giving us something to race for during the regular season. So we've done our job winning 6 races this year, so we've accumulated some bonus points, so hopefully that can carry us through this bad stretch here, and maybe we can find ourselves in victory lane later on in this round. If not, hopefully the bonus points get us there.
6 wins already this season.
Yeah, Kelly, and what maturity out of that 23-year-old from Norman, Oklahoma.
I was just going to say that was a heck of an interview considering what just happened to him.
Taken out of the first race of the round of 8, not of his doing. And now he'll have to fight the last 2 races to see if he can get into the championship 4. Getting ready for the restart. This time it's Hamrick and Brandon Jones on the front row.
Brandon Jones on the outside. He's able to enter side by side with Hamrick.
Tift making it 3 wide. He goes to the high side through 1. Matt Tift in the 2. Little speedy dry, and Brandon Jones hits the wall.
Wow.
Hang on to it. Hang on to it.
Tyler Redick in the 9, also with an issue.
Keep it up there.
Caution coming out again.
Keep it up there. Keep it up there. Slow down here so we can get to pit road.
Came out of turn 2. You saw the speedy dry that was trailing back behind the car. That's what they put down to make sure all of the fluid is off the racetrack. But it looked like Brandon Jones just got loose coming off of turn 2.
It was more down the straightaway, wasn't it, Junior? It looked like maybe he was trying to side draft.
Let's take a look and see. I couldn't tell what happened.
It was
the
weird.
weirdest thing.
So he's going down the straight. They're perfectly straight, wide open in the gas, clearly. And Hamrick moved away to try to prevent the side draft, and then the 19 went to try to side draft. Next thing you know, he was sideways. I don't think I've ever seen that before, Junior. Have you?
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't seen anything similar to that in a long time, but
makes you think if he had a tire going down or something. I don't know.
It is possible that maybe he had a left side tire, left rear tire going down. It looked like that would be what might cause that car to turn back to the right. When he went to go side draft and straighten the car out, it definitely sets on the left side and the left rear. And if he had a low or a flat left rear tire, it would steer back into the right, back into the fence.
You see all that speedy dry coming out from underneath the cars. You think that could have had a role? I mean, it was clearly there was stuff coming out underneath both cars, Hamrick and Jones.
It's definitely a dirty racetrack back there. And
they need him. He at the fence, still green.
And guys, behind that, Tyler Redick, another championship contender, thinks he might have gotten some damage. You saw him kind of shoot to the apron. They think it's on the right side, and there you see the rocker panel on the very bottom of the car, that white piece right where the tailpipes are. It's kind of rolled under. He said he feels that damage inside the car.
We're still fighting to complete the first lap of green flag racing at Kansas Speedway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This time, Brandon Jones hard into the wall. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card perfect for everyday purchases. And by Ford, going further so you can. Well, you see, two of our championship contenders in Justin Allgaier and the 20. Christopher Bell. Allgaier explaining to Bell what happened. That's a tough discussion to take place right there.
A lot of respect right there, though.
Marty.
So, Rick, what happened to the 19 a moment ago? Daniel Hamrick asked Danny Stockman the same exact question. Take a listen.
What are they doing? He's trying to side draft you, and when he side drafted you, he turned too hard back to the right and drove at the fence.
Kelly, everybody on pit road wondering what happened to the 19 on the backstretch.
And Marty, we saw that too of Matt Tifft taking it 3 wide at one point. Well, when that second caution came out, here's what he said over the radio.
What the hell is in these people's coffee this morning? I'm not sure, but as long as it keeps going like this, stage points are going to be huge today, bud. We just keep doing what we got to do.
All right, so what do you think, guys? Is it going to settle down a little bit now?
I think that, you know, that reminded me a lot of what it feels like to race at Old Rockingham when the tires were worn out down the back straightaway. Car tries to spin back to the right on the front on the straightaway, and going through all that speedy dry, it's real possible that their tires were terribly dirty at that particular point, trying to be aggressive with the side drafting. He definitely had the back of the car moving around and setting on the left rear real hard. So that's the only thing I can imagine happened there. And the fact that maybe how do they have the front sway bar hooked up in that car? Right. Could be missing a link on the left front that would make that car steer back to the right that way.
All right, guys, we're going to try it again. Pace car makes his way back onto pit road.
I'd be nervous going into turn one right now.
It's Daniel Hamrick in the 21, Tyler Redick in the 9. Green flag back out in the air.
All right, here you go. You see the 9 car on the outside of the 21. This is the same situation we saw just a moment ago. Let's see if Redick can have a good turn one. Hamrick drives away.
Daniel Hamrick. Now 4 car lengths on the field as they go down the backstretch.
3 wide
per second.
Matt Tifft has made 2 moves on the last 2 restarts to go 3 wide. Put himself in position here to battle for second place.
And that's the guy that was saying something was in everybody's coffee.
And look at Shane Lee in the 3 making the move on the outside.
Yeah, I appreciate the aggression, but if I'm the crew chief for Matt Tifft, I'm reminding him we've already had playoff cars in trouble. Buddy, we just need to take a deep breath. Let's keep this thing in one piece.
Well, we do talk about, you know, this opportunity for guys to advance themselves up in these playoffs. But what about a guy like Shane Lee looking for his first win? You've eliminated a lot of good cars. He's not worried about the playoffs. You see right there the 18 of Ryan Preece jumping on the outside of him. A guy like that get another win in the Xfinity Series. It makes it easier for those guys as well.
And remember, they're racing for jobs. Shane Lee, not a full-time racer in the Xfinity Series. He'd like to be. Or maybe get an opportunity in any of the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, or Cup Series. They're all out there trying to make a name for themselves in this series.
And Rick, what a terrific story Shane Lee is. I talked to him right before the race, and yeah, he didn't have anything locked up for 2019. Young man out of Hickory, North Carolina. He said, racing at the 1.5 mile, Dave, were the hardest thing I had to learn once I got to the Xfinity Series. Doing a nice job right now.
Ryan Preece has learned that well up ahead in the red and black 18. He goes to the Cup Series next year. Today he has an issue. His tachometer is not working. The needle that tells him when to shift is not working. He has some lights that he can use on pit road to maintain that speed, but going up through the gears, guys, he said it's very hard for me right now to get through the gears correctly on the restarts. 18 car.
And we're starting to already see multiple lines around the racetrack, some fighting right along the bottom of the racetrack on the white line, and then others all the way up to the fence.
Guys, what is going on? These cars look as unstable as I've ever seen them. I can't tell if it's the surface of the track, it's a windy day, maybe that's playing with these guys. But even under normal conditions, Dale, they're moving all over the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, the guys were talking about in the Cup practice earlier today, this track feels like it lost 25% of the grip from today, from yesterday. So grip coming out of this racetrack quickly. Imagine what it'll be like tomorrow.
The other thing, Junior, is the wind has picked up. A lot more wind right now. That could be affecting them as well. But you talked about cars moving all around the place. Well, this 9 car, watch this off turn 4. Look how loose he gets. Crazy loose. Good job not getting in the wall. That allowed Ryan Preece to take that second place over. And Ryan Preece is running the same speed as the leader, Hamrick, right now.
And he's sideways at 150 plus miles an hour as he's coming out of turn 4.
There's John Hunter Nemechek Junior, you mentioned John Hunter Nemechek and the pressure on him. Well, this situation with several good cars being taken out, that makes his day a little easier as well.
Yeah, he definitely needs to capitalize on these opportunities when a lot of the front runners are knocked out. He's got a good speed on his car to do it. He's had good speed all weekend. Just tries to get that track position so he can get up there and see if he's got anything for that 21. Look at this move right here down into turn 3.
John Hunter Nemechek in the 42.
That shows me that car's working really well. He can complete that pass and also be in position to make a move on Lee.
Just a little note, now that we've run 7 green flag laps, NASCAR is telling us that all the cars that are on the racetrack have met minimum speed. That means that 00 of Cole Custer, if we do have a yellow, we'll be able to continue to make repairs.
Nemechek trying to make the pass on Lee there, running a little bit through the middle of the racetrack. It's hard to do. Hard to pass that guy running at top. That's how you got to do it right there. Dive down into the entry of the corner. You're going to beat them. They're going to back off on the high side, so drive on in there pretty deep on entry, and that's the way to make that pass. Parker.
Brandon Jones out of the infield care center. And Brandon, we saw you go down the side draft to 21, and when you went to go away from him, it just went in the wall. What happened there?
Yeah, there was a ton of debris back there from that first big wreck. I don't know if we ran through something or what, but the car acted fine on that restart, which is hard for me to believe that it had a flat tire. But I've never had one like that wreck, kind of going straight as we were. But I did pack a pretty aggressive side draft, so maybe me going really quick was the effect of that. All in all, hate it, but we tried our best there and tried to do what we had to do.
Guys, we got a caution racetrack.
23 of Spencer Gallagher looked like he got into the wall coming through the tri-oval right before turn 1. And looks like the right front tire is probably down on that.
I think he was part of that crash that first wreck we've had, and I think that he had some damage that was creating a rub, and he lost the right front tire coming through the tri-oval.
It exploded. You could hear it up here in the booth. Major explosion when it blew.
He made the announcement earlier this week that he will step away from full-time racing in NASCAR to take a managerial role with this racing team. Look back on what just took place to Spencer. There's where that tire had exploded and up into the wall he went.
So you saw Cole Custer go underneath him on the bottom of the racetrack. He also has damage.
Yeah, this caution gives him an opportunity to work on that car some more to try to get it to where he can at least get to the end of this race.
And as Steve mentioned, now they're not on that clock. So they were able to go out, make minimum speed, and so that clock goes away. They can work on the car as much as they want. Not Spencer Gallagher, but Cole Custer we're talking about now with the 00. So they will have to do quite a bit of work on that car if they want to be competitive. He was running 29th, the last car on the lead lap.
And Rick, here they come back down pit road. Cole Custer saying, I cannot do much more with the car. They were almost going to go a lap down there just on speed. He said, that no power steering thing is really, really hurting me. So they're going to limp around the best they can all day long, but it's going to be a tough task for the young man, Cole Custer, without power steering in this 00 car.
And one of the concerns is you see right here what they're trying to do. They're cutting that tape. I was going to say the concern, Rick, is after you get the damage repaired, the hood might not be operational. So if they have any idea that they might be able to repair the power steering, they need to go under the hood now before they get everything taped up. You can already see how difficult it is for the crew member. Looks like he might have thrown the towel in and said, you know what, we better not open it. I'm not sure we'll get it back closed.
So a very bizarre start to the race here in Kansas for the Xfinity Series. Daniel Hamrick loving all of the commotion behind him. get ready for a star-studded doubleheader on Wednesday night. Hockey first, John Tavares and the Maple Leafs visit the Jets. Then Nikita Kucherov and the Lightning will face the Avalanche. That's NHL on NBCSN, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Under another caution. Once again, 3 cautions already to start this race. Let's go back to Marty.
Another one of the championship contenders, Tyler Redick, came down pit road last time. He's in 23rd right now. They're going to come down pit road again. They're working on that right side skirt. They have pulled it out. They've done that effectively, but they also went down 4 rounds on the track bar. That's a massive adjustment. Car was way too loose for Tyler Redick when he would touch the gas. Just wanted to spin out, but one more pit stop still to come for Tyler Redick. They did not take tires on that stop, Kelly.
Well, there was also an unscheduled stop for the 2 of Matt Tifft. He told his crew chief, Randall Burnett, that the right front didn't feel right. He said he had a pretty bad vibration. It got worse, so they brought him to pit road, changed his 4 tires, also helped loosen him up as he was too tight. They've since looked at that tire and wheel. They said the tire looked fine, the wheel did not. Matt said, yeah, it kind of felt like it may have been warped. Good news now, the vibration in that 2 is gone.
So one thing we've noticed up here in the booth is we've noticed the flags are just flying really, really hard. A lot of wind direction toward 1 and 2. Parker, what's it like down there?
Exactly, Jeff, and that's been the thing. It's gusting, so occasionally it dies down, and then suddenly it comes really hard, and you feel like you're basically being about knocked over. My hair goes everywhere, and you can see those flags right there, and it's going basically from turn 4 diagonally across to turn 2. So I've got to think, even though it's not even like a tailwind basically on either straightaway, it's coming straight across the track, and therefore I think because it's also sort of intermittent, it's catching a lot of these cars off guard. And Jeff, you know, if you hit wind suddenly and hit a gust, it can really affect that race car.
Yeah, you know, I never believed that. I'm like, how can the wind move a car that weighs over 3,000 pounds around? But it makes a major difference, and especially where it's blowing now, as you said, Parker, from 3 and 4 toward turns 1 and 2, and then you get those gusts. That's the worst possible condition for the wind. So, yeah, that could have an effect on what we're seeing today.
Winds blowing into turns 1 and 2. So potentially affecting even Justin Allgaier in that initial wreck that took place. Big gusts affecting the handling of these cars. But we have seen some crazy things happen already. The wreck really on lap 1. Then Brandon Jones wrecking when he came out, and he was actually going down the straightaway and was wrecking. And then most recently we've seen Spencer Gallagher with a right front tire go down, and not even to the end of stage 1 yet. So a little bit surprising to start this race.
You just never know what to expect at a race. You never know what kind of race you're going to get. I had no idea that we would have this many cautions this early in the race, and with the people we've had them with. Yeah. Think about how it's going to impact these points for the rest of the race. Huge opportunity for people to go get some points and to be able to get that win. A lot of good competition taken out of the field, opportunities for others.
Yeah, and again, only 4 advance into that championship 4 that take place in Miami. Let's bring in Steven Jr. Guys, are you surprised at all at what we're seeing?
Well, I'm shocked. Dale, normally as a playoff contender, you want to qualify towards the front. That's the safest place to be, but that was anything but the safest place on the original start of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the restart was pretty normal, other than the 21 car Hamrick kind of jumped out there and got a great start. Well, back behind him, two of the guys that dominated the season, really, Justin Allgaier and Christopher Bell, start this big crash. It takes 4 contenders with it, and the only one still going is Cole Custer. He's out there trying to ride around with a damaged car, make as many laps and positions as he possibly can.
And you heard Justin Allgaier. Not only is he crushed for his team and the 7 and what they're trying to do to make the final race for the championship, but he understands that he single-handedly, with his mistake, he cost the 20, he cost the 22. The 00, while he has he's currently making repairs and trying to fix the race car, it's definitely not going to be the day they had hoped for. Remember that 00 went to Miami last year and won, so he's trying to shake that. And then a bizarre wreck on the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, other than just the dirty racetrack that they went through just before this accident and the aggressiveness of trying to side draft, those are the only 2 things I can add to what might have caused that. And I know Jones is going to be terribly embarrassed by that mistake. And how do you wreck on the front straightaway, or the back straightaway? But it happens. And then Spencer Gallagher here. He blows right front. He was collected in that first wreck that we showed, and blow the right front tire and gets into the wall there.
Yeah, so now I'm really just waiting to see how well the 00 does with repairs to see if they can continue. I think that's the opportunity. There's got to be 5 or 10 points out there, Marty, if that 00 can continue to make laps.
And you talk about the 00 of Cole Custer. They did something very interesting. Cole said on the radio, the only thing that's going to make us faster, remember they have no power steering, is some more grip tape. So what they did is they literally handed him a roll of tape that has almost sandpaper on it. And he took his gloves off. He wrapped his entire steering wheel by himself in that sandpaper tape. So it's trying to give him a little extra grip. And there you see, thank you for the Circle Dale Jr. or Mr. Burton. And so he's put that sandpaper tape on the steering wheel, hoping he can grip it a little bit more. And here's Cole putting that on himself on that pit stop. So very interesting stuff. Applying that sandpaper tape, trying to get a little more grip on that steering wheel without that power steering.
He must have owned a skateboard when he was a kid. And that's what you used to put on the skateboard, Rick?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought that was to keep me from slipping on my stairs.
That too, Dave, that too. But ingenuitive. I mean, this is a situation where you've got to do whatever you can. You have no power steering wheel, you better have a better grip on that steering wheel.
And so I know there's some people at home saying, hey, my heroes didn't have power steering. You know, Kel Yarborough didn't have power steering. Richard Petty didn't. But those are different cars. When you don't have power steering today, these cars are set up to rely on power steering, and it's so difficult to turn the wheel. It's not the same as it once was, so you've got to do something different just to get the car around the racetrack.
Well, this 00 has a faster steering box and a smaller steering wheel than they had in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, the cars that didn't have power steering in the 70s, they used front-end settings to make those cars steer easier and turn better. And once we did get the power steering on the motor, we were able to really put in any caster and camber that we want. And when that power steering goes away, it becomes impossible almost to steer that car.
Now we're going to do a little fitness check of the driver of the 00.
Not only is he going to have to drive it with no power steering, which is going to be incredibly tough, but it's also a damaged race car that's going to be way off the pace. He's got a long day ahead of him.
So now Hamrick, who is a playoff driver, running up front. Then Sadler's running 5th. Tiff, the next playoff driver, all the way down in 18th. Redick running 26th, and Cole Custer running 28th. Parker.
Spencer Gallagher out of the infield care center. Spencer, did you blow right front there on the front straightaway?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I knew we had lost some front downforce in our Legion Travel Chevy after the first incident. You know, it's just sometimes that happens. You get the one wrong wire across the first start and everything goes to hell. But I thought we were going to be able to salvage an all right day out of that. But obviously that's not what we want for our GMS guys back home. They bring great cars and they hate to tear one up. But I just want to thank Xfinity Internet for being out here at the series and wish we had a better day.
And back here comes the restart, guys.
This time, it's Daniel Hamrick on the inside, and on his outside will be Ryan Preece for the restart.
Another great race start for Hamrick. This time looks like he might get clear, but Preece comes back on that right rear quarter panel. Now they're side by side. Ryan Preece, great. Remember the restarts that we saw from him in New Hampshire?
Yes.
This guy's ready to go on restarts. Very aggressive.
She's just short track racing, right, Burton? They don't have 200 laps. They got to go.
Yeah, Preece had good speed before this caution. He was running the same speed as Hamrick, but right there, John Hunter Nemechek. Whoa, a little bit of action right there on the other side of the screen. Matt Tift. But John Hunter Nemechek battling for that second spot.
Preece fighting on the outside, trying to hold on to second. John Hunter Nemechek in the 42 on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to steal second away.
You know, on the right side, the reason we're showing that too, he had came because of that to pit road because of that vibration. He has fresher tires, trying to recover, slowly working back in. He's in the 12th position.
John Hunter Nemechek almost cleared, not quite. Preece gonna stay right on that quarter panel. Great battle for second. John Hunter side drafting a little bit. Whoa, he gets a little bit close there. Chopped the entry, and now he's going to come up the racetrack just a bit. He's actually going to take the spot.
Slides up in front of him.
Yeah, Ryan Preece, he was trying to match it. He was trying to get his car turned to drive back under Nemechek, but just couldn't make it happen.
John Hunter Nemechek, man, I think he sees blood in the water, man. He's like, I can win this race.
Well, you talked about it. He has to. His potential career is on the line. We saw Ross Chastain win in this 42. Now we have a limited field with all the accidents. I mean, if you're a potential owner or sponsor and you're looking for someone to sponsor in this series, you want someone that can go up and win races.
I see Matt Tiff driving up through the field after his pit stop. He's already in the 8th, but behind him, Tyler Redick started 26th. And Tyler Redick is running in 9th. He is already driven into a point-paying position for the end of this stage. So from 26th to 9th in 3 laps, pretty impressive.
And Jeff, just keep in mind for Tyler Redick, who's a little further back, those guys did not put on tires on any of their stops. So they're on equal tires for the rest of the field. So for him to drive up as far as he has on this run, very impressive for Tyler Redick. Plus 16 since the restart.
Points very important, and when you have 4 of the playoff contenders that have struggled, or some of them that are already out of this race, you've got to take advantage of that, and that is exactly what Tyler Redick in the 9 is doing. You see the playoff points on the left side of your screen. Tyler Redick in that 9 plus 2 now on the cutoff line, now plus 3 with each pass that he makes. Every position is worth a point.
There's only 7 laps to go. He's got an opportunity, but he's going to have to keep digging hard. You see him underneath the 16 of Ryan
Sideways
Reed.
there.
He won't lift, I can guarantee you. He knows one speed, Rick.
And they're fighting for the points at the end of the stages as well. Stage 1 and Stage 2. Stage 1 and 2 are both 45 laps long. Only 6 to go now until we get to the end of Stage 1. Here's how the points are awarded at the end of each stage. 10 through 1 as far as points given, and a stage winner gets a playoff point. So that would be huge for Daniel Hamrick, who's running up front right now.
Look at this little battle here, though, guys, for the lead. John Hunter Nemechek's been running faster than Hamrick the last couple of laps. But Hamrick has now moved up the racetrack to try to match where John Hunter's found that speed. Hamrick's been so fast all weekend in practice. Qualified in front of the field by 2/10. Didn't know if anybody was going to be able to compete with him today, but Johnny Hunter Nemechek is really putting together some great laps. That lap 1/10 faster than Hamrick. Look at him. Now John Hunter Nemechek has to move down the racetrack to find some clean air for the nose of his car and still closes the gap.
This is something we've seen from Daniel Hamrick a lot of this year, is being able to be really, really fast for short runs, a little bit of struggle on long runs. But you mentioned it, Junior. He saw what John Hunter Nemechek was doing, changed his line, went to the top, and now he is faster than Nemechek.
Yeah, that's the thing. You hope when you're catching a guy, John Hunter Nemechek is running Hamrick down, and you're running him down by running that high side. And Hamrick was running the middle of the racetrack, and you're hoping that Hamrick doesn't see you catching him. You're like, please don't move up in front of me. Because now Hamrick has taken not only the line, but the air. It's really made it difficult for the 42.
Like you're sneaking up in a game of tag.
Yeah, man, don't look. Here it comes.
Under 3 laps to go now. Hamrick looking for the stage win, but he does have a close competitor in John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, the thing is not only do you think about the driver seeing what you're doing, but now these little sneaky spotters on top of the grandstands are sharing that information for the driver. Hey, he's running you down. He's running that high side on the fence. There's a lot of that going on that used to not happen years and years ago. The spotters are becoming such an important part of this at every racetrack. John Hunter Nemechek that last time by just a little bit faster, so he's got great speed in that 42 today.
How aggressive will he be to try to beat Daniel Hamrick and win stage 1? He goes to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, go on the bottom and try that. See how that works for him.
Had to try something different. This was not going to get it done running the top. Daniel Hamrick's move forced him to go to the bottom.
And if you're Daniel Hamrick, you're like, all right, I see that he changed his line, so I must be doing something right running that top. Now he's having to look around because the top's not working no more.
And behind these guys, Redick has gotten by Tiff for 6th position.
Guys that are in the top 10 right now that are running in the playoffs, Sadler, Redick, and Tiff running 5th, 6th, and 7th. So big points for all of the playoff contenders that have been able to make it into the top 10 coming out of turn 4. And the winner of stage 1 is Daniel Hamrick. 10 points, very valuable for Daniel Hamrick as he is looking to advance to the championship 4. Even more importantly, potentially the win that is out there. Daniel Hamrick wins the pole. He has no idea how important that pole win was going to be, but it ends up getting him the stage 1 win.
Down a dream that never would come to me. Working
Watch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. You can get it anytime, anywhere. Go to NBCSports.com/live. 00 back behind the wall. Obviously, he's been fighting with a power steering issue. They can do this now that they are not on the damaged vehicle policy. They are able to go back there and work on that car, and that's what they are doing, trying to make it a little bit better. Pit road open, and let's go right to Kelly.
Playoff driver Elliott Sadler pits from the 5th position. His biggest issue with the #1 car is that it's been a little bit too tight, especially in turn two. They're going to put a Packer in the right front as well to help get him off the splitter. 4 tires and fuel.
Kelly, John Hunter Nemechek there pits in the center of your screen. He's going to do 4 Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel was just too tight running behind the 21 car. You're going to need to free it up if you're going to make a pass on him.
Third place, Ryan Preece, bottom of your screen. He didn't want it freed up much, just wants it to turn a little better with some more grip. Fresh tires should help that. Sunoco fuel as well, Marty.
Danny Stockton said, man, that car looks good. Daniel Hamrick replied, because it is good. A little bit too tight in the bottom of 1 and 2. Good everywhere else. They're going to go no changes on the 21 car. Going to be a tight race off pit road. But the 21 car beats that 42 off of pit road, guys.
Ryan Truex, Daniel Hamrick. Pretty tight little battle there between the 21 and 42, but it was Truex that was first off of pit road.
Remember when you were a kid and you asked your mom, come on, there's nothing to do? Not the case in Kansas City this weekend, because Sunday Night Football is in town. 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff at 8:20. The Chiefs hosting the Bengals. That's after the elimination race here at Kansas Speedway. The worlds collided earlier today when Sunday Night Football's Michelle Tafoya came out to the track and got in the car with Jeff Burton.
Well, Michelle Tafoya, it's great having you here. Great weekend for us at NBC. We got the race on Sunday. We got the football game on Sunday. You came to see me, and I'm going to come see you tomorrow night, but this gives us a chance to show you what being in a race car is like. This is a really wide racetrack. It's a fast racetrack, though. We're going to go in about 185 right now. Wow. You see how wide the racetrack is? Pretty smooth, not rough.
This is crazy. They say Tyreek Hill is fast.
Right up against the wall.
Whoa! Whoa! I can't believe my life is in your hands right now.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see more of that as part of the Sunday Night Football game during the broadcast. Jeff, what was it like?
It was awesome. Michelle was so much fun. She got into it. She was excited. She wanted to go faster, Rick. She kept saying, go more, go more. So it was fun to see that and have a chance to talk to her. And we stood down just behind the pit wall in the very first pit box when happy hour started for the Cup cars. They were flying by at over 200 miles an hour. She was really having a good time. So it was fun. It was awesome, actually.
I know one thing, Rick. After seeing that, you or Junior are going to drive to the football game. We're not going to let Burton drive.
No, we will. I will drive to the football game. And 2x2 once again. I want to make sure that everyone knows Ryan Truex was in the 11, but he was on pit road prior to it being open. So when we saw that race off of pit road, the 21 and the 42 were racing for position. The 11 was not. He was not on pit road at the same time. And getting ready for the green flag to come back out. Josh Williams in the 90 has stayed out on the track. That's why he's on the outside. Daniel Hamrick on the inside.
And Josh Williams moving out of the way to create a lane for everybody. Smart move.
He'll fall back again, not coming to pit road, staying out on the track to get that track position. But out front, Daniel Hamrick has a 2-car length lead over John Hunter Nemechek, and it's another 2 car lengths back to Shane Lee in the 3.
We talked about opportunities for people. That black car, that number 60, that's Ty Majeski. Gets a few runs a year in this car. Late model racer from the Midwest, has won tons of late model races, having a shot at Roush Fenway in this Xfinity car.
Right behind him, the announcement coming out for Ryan Reed, and Lily Diabetes will be stepping away from racing. So Ryan Reed now trying to figure out what his future will hold. And you see the 00, not quite up to speed yet, Marty.
Tip of the cap, though, to those guys, Rick. They came in, put them behind the wall, only lost 6 laps. They replaced that power steering pump and the reservoir as well for Cole Custer. So now he has power steering, but they are 6 laps down. But quick work by the Stewart-Haas guys to get him back out on the track.
Still so much damage. He was involved in that first wreck that took place on lap 1. Tyler Reddick in the 9. Shane Lee looks like he's going to fall back as Ryan Preece makes the move in the 18.
Yeah, Shane Lee just can't quite figure out how to get around this racetrack. Working that top side maybe a little too soon in this run, as these guys got tires and they're all making that bottom work. You want to run the bottom in the first few laps. Then move up the racetrack at maybe lap 5 to 10. Make speed up there, but going to get beat on the bottom. You got to get beat by guys on the bottom early in the run.
Elliott Sadler with an aggressive move on Ryan Reed. Elliott Sadler got a little bit of ground to make up back in 9th place. You almost feel like, Junior, that they gave a few points away. With as much trouble as people had, you would have thought they would want, maybe could have finished 3rd, 4th, those positions in the end of that first stage to get as many points as possible. Maybe some points given away right there.
Yeah, we've seen how important those stage points are in the Cup Series throughout the last several weeks, and how guys have really changed the complexity of the points battle with just where they finish in the stages, not even where they're finishing in the end result of the race. And watching this front battle here, John Hunter Nemechek trying to find extra speed on Hamrick, and he's running that high side. We got a spin down the front straightaway here off of turn 4, number 8.
Around he goes, and that is J.A. Junior Avila.
No contact, don't look like. Just got loose off of turn 4 and spun the car out harmlessly down into the grass.
Nice and easy, don't go too fast. Tires are down, you're going to lose a lap anyway.
He's going to get some great information there. Take it easy on these tires. You got holes in them. You got a whole lap to go to get back to pit road and change them. And if you go too fast, definitely going to come apart and tear that race car apart. We'll take a look at the replay. At 3 wide, yeah. This is so he's on the bottom, and 76 is taking some of the side force off, but it gets loose regardless. In that situation, I think he drove up on that 3 wide quicker than he anticipated.
Well, the 23-year-old from Los Angeles, California, doesn't make many starts in the Xfinity Series. This just his 2nd start and the first time he's ever raced at Kansas in the Xfinity Series. Brings out the 5th caution. When we come back, another restart. Kansas Lottery 300. And Parker Kligerman, you've got a unique perspective of this racetrack.
I do, Rick. I'm down here in turn 1 with these drivers under green. We'll be approaching about 190 miles per hour into turn 1. They've got the wind pushing them into here. And I want you to notice how quiet it is right now, how calm it is. Now wait till you guys come back here in a couple of laps, and I'm going to show you how ferocious it is down here and how insane it is when these cars go by.
All right, we will definitely come back to you. And again, he's just outside of the fence, obviously, as they enter turn number 1.
So I think it's more dangerous there than it was where Michelle Tafoya was.
Michelle's on the inside of the track.
I'd be ducking right there. They're going 200.
Yeah. Marty, what's happening with Cole Custer? I see him back on pit road.
I don't think we've talked more about power steering in one race car in my entire life, but he went out and had power steering for about 3 laps and then lost it. They came in, no fluid in the power steering pump. They don't know what's going on because obviously they just put a brand new one in. So they're under the hood trying to figure out what's going on with this 00, but he needs that power steering, as you guys mentioned, to continue in the race.
This time it'll be John Hunter Nemechek on the outside of Daniel Hamrick. Tyler Redick behind Hamrick. Back up through the gears they go.
Nemechek with a really good restart. He is going to be door to door with Hamrick into 1.
For the lead, John Hunter Nemechek surging ahead as they go through 1 and 2. And Nemechek takes the lead away from Hamrick.
I feel like that was really his only opportunity. I don't know if he had a good enough race car to pass Hamrick under green flag. So on that restart, I think he knew that. I think he knew he needed to be aggressive, and he took that restart. Took that opportunity to pass him. Great job.
So now he needs to lock that thing on the bottom, right? Don't try to run the top. We've seen him move to the top really early.
Oh, behind him.
Wow.
Behind him, Priest gets a little loose in front of the 9 car. Redick slides up the racetrack. That allows Tiff to get into this battle.
Tiff in the 2, trying to make some room here to get up to the front. And while all that's happening, here comes the 1 of Elliott Sadler. Sadler passing Tiff, taking the spot away.
That's all on used tires here, so these guys are all moving around, trying to find grip, trying to find clean air.
See out of Sadler's windshield, you can see the 2 leaders, the front of the pack.
And a great perspective right on the visor.
Battle up front is getting a little bit tighter. Hamrick's not going to let John Hunter Nemechek get away.
Hamrick went to the top. He ran the top for a lap and a half. Nemechek saw it. He went to the top, blocked that move. Then Hamrick went back to the bottom.
That's a great drive off of turn 2 for running the bottom for Hamrick. That shows you how good his car is. He almost driving up on the 42 with the draft down the back straightaway. Look at him driving to 3.
And Nemechek missed the bottom right there. The middle of the racetrack's not where you want to be. You want to commit to the bottom or the top. It's going to give Hamrick a run.
And John Hunter Nemechek has not had a good lap there. Gave up a lot of time and possibly the position down into turn 1. He's going to fight on that outside.
It'll be hard for Hamrick to pull this pass off. So much momentum on the outside.
See him have to lift real quick. All that momentum lost. He was maintaining until he had to lift real quick right on that corner exit.
So you see there, Nemechek just went to the top. He didn't mess around with the middle. He went all the way to the top. Smart recovery, smart move. Mistake the corner before. He fixed it, and now he drove back away from Hamrick.
Now what does Hamrick do? Hamrick knows that 42 is just going to drive away if he stays on the bottom of the racetrack. Going to try this bottom one more time. I think he's going to have to give up on that bottom, Jeff.
He's got the top rolling now.
Yep.
Big mow off.
Hear that information. Got the top rolling, man. You got to change it up.
That was Brandon Lyons' spotter, giving him that information. But listen to how much throttle he has on the bottom of the racetrack. Your car drives that good, it's hard to imagine that somebody can be driving away from you from the top, but you can see what happens. The straightaway is where you make that gain running the top.
He's going to go to the middle here. He's going to try to see if this middle will be good enough. He knows if he runs right at the top behind the 42, he's going to be in his dirty air, so he's just going to move up a little bit and see if that'll give him a little bit more speed. Marty.
And we talk about Kansas Speedway being one of the best places to sort of test for Miami, if you will. Racetrack Junior, you know all too well, where you have to run right against the wall, and that's where the championship will be decided. Danny Stockman, the crew chief for Daniel Hamrick, really challenged him going into this race. He feels like that's been one of Daniel's weak spots, running the top of the racetrack. So he challenged him. You're going to have to run the top if you want to win the race today and if you want to win this championship as well. But Junior, there's an art to that, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And with the telemetry today, these guys can learn from each other. That was one of the things that was an advantage for a guy like, I thought myself, for Kyle Larson, before the telemetry was available to the guys now. When you figure out how to run that top, it was a bit of a, an advantage you had on the field, but now everybody can look at what you're doing with the throttle and figure out how to make it work. And you can see the 42's really, really loose on that top end. I mean, he's really hanging the right rear out, and you see that been an issue for him as Hamrick is closing in, even in that dirty air, but he's going to run a little bit lower here, keep that left front into clean air.
But what Hamrick's done these last few laps is he's entered high. He has, before he was entering the middle of the racetrack, then moving up. Now he's entering high. That's helping his middle of the corner speed. Staying just a little bit below that 42 to keep the left front fender with clean air. But you talked about it. That 42 is loose right here. You can see the back of the car moving around.
21 didn't have a good exit right there. He's chopping the entry. So the real key to making the top work is that high entry. The more you can commit to entering higher and higher and higher, the faster you're going to be from the center off. And if you chop that entry, it's really not running the top. You're basically running a diamond at that point, and the exit's not going to be very good.
Hamrick continues to chase after John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek now has been out front for 11 laps as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Welcome back to the NASCAR Xfinity Series race from Kansas Speedway. I am down here in turn 1 because how fast these drivers are going through here, 190 miles per hour, and there's no better example than getting this close to them right here. I can tell you it's slightly terrifying as they go by. They blow us over. There's a ton of wind. So we see Hamrick and John Hunter Nemechek continue to fight for the lead. But the other part that's crazy, you start to see the wind down here. I actually found a tear-off a windshield tear-off. Blew up here while I was standing over the other side of the fence. It's crazy down here. I think I'm going to have to raise my insurance or something after this.
Pretty close to a nearly 2-ton car making its way around the racetrack at, as you mentioned, over 190 miles an hour right there at that spot.
And Hamrick has started to run Nemechek down. He started to open up the entry a little bit, also running against much closer to the wall in the middle of the corner. Hamrick has started to cut that lead and just getting back to him a little bit each lap.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a better job running that high line. The 42 is still really, really loose. You can see the car has a big yaw moment through the corner. John Hunter Nemechek hanging on the back of that race car. 42, or the 21, Hamrick, like you say, Jeff, entering higher, and he's able to run through the center of the corner and the exit with more throttle. Make gains from the center off. Great battle right here. Fourth place, third place actually, Priest holding that position.
And these two guys are doing the same thing. Everybody's locked on the top of the racetrack now. And now, because the line has moved all the way to the top, it's going to make passing that much more difficult because that top groove being that much faster. Once you do everything you just said that Hamrick is doing better. Now he's using more racetrack. He's not entering too low. He's not rolling the middle versus the top. That's where you're going to have to make a pass. So clearly the track's not as good right there right now. So these passes from the 9 car of Redick and the 21 of Hamrick are going to be very difficult. You see Redick trying the very bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, the last time through 1 and 2, Priest ran about a half a car length off the wall. If I'm Redick, I'm trying to get right on that fence and take advantage of that. If you're not going to get up on that fence, I'll get up on that fence because there's so much more speed running that high line. Look where Priest is. I'd be right on the wall with the 9 car because he's making gains up there. I keep putting laps together trying to run up on that 18 car and get up on his right rear quarter panel if I could. He's not going to run the fence. He's going to give him a little time doing that.
Ryan Priest in the 18 has been battling a mechanical situation all day, guys. The tachometer is not working on the dashboard of that 18 car. And what that means is coming to pit road, he's got to rely on some lights so that he doesn't speed. But going through the gears as he gets up to speed on the restarts, it's very difficult because he can't see the tachometer to know his shift points. He's been having to kind of guess, and a couple of restarts have been fantastic. So he's doing a good job, Marty.
Dave, meanwhile, Tyler Redick would love to get that spot and a couple more points here at the end of the stage, which is coming up in 9 more laps. I asked Tyler Redick what this round is about for him. The round of 8, he said, today, this is our best shot to make it to Miami. This is the racetrack where I feel the most confidence. He's trying to take advantage of that now and get to victory lane and put himself in that championship 4.
So Tyler Redick continuing to try to reel in that 18 of Ryan Priest. Behind them we see the 4 of Ross Chastain, who was in the playoffs until this round, and he doesn't have a hood. Well, the reason he doesn't, take a look at what happens. Blows off, comes back down onto the racetrack, and then it gets run over. Almost completely destroyed.
Composite hood is nothing but shrapnel now.
Yeah, just a few pieces. Dave.
And that damage, Rick, how long was it before we had a caution today?
Well,
like
lap 1.
Yeah, that damage was first caused on lap 1 when Ross got into the car in front of him trying to avoid. They taped it down. They've been working on it all day, but obviously even 200-mile-an-hour tape, as it's sometimes called, can't keep a hood on a race car.
Yeah, I think that car that hit it might have been the 9 car. Tyler Redick, very lucky situation for those guys. He's still working hard trying to get on that right rear quarter panel of Priest for 3rd place. Real close battle here. Priest is running just a little bit off the wall. In 3 and 4, he's a little closer to the fence, but in 1 and 2.
Oh, that was a good
there
corner.
It is, yeah.
I think 9's going to get him right here.
I don't know how he's going to get him, though, because Priest is going to go back to the top.
We'll see. We'll see what he does down here. Priest is a little bit lower.
Yeah, I was going to say,
1 and 2.
Priest's top is a little less committed than the 9's top.
See, there's a half a car there.
Right
so,
there.
Yeah, but the 9 can't jump up in there. There's not that big of a hole, so he's not running low enough for the 9 to roll up on the outside of him. It may allow the 9 to get to him, but making this pass is going to be really difficult.
The dirt experience of Tyler Redick is showing. He knows how it is to search for that cushion. At a dirt track, it's normally that cushion of dirt. Here at Kansas Speedway, it's that last foot of clean asphalt
You know, 4 laps to go. This will be an important pass for Redick because that'd be worth 1 point. You see how we do the points for the stages, and it's coming to the end of the second stage. So
every point matters. As we have seen coming in, there were drivers that were tied for positions. Right now, Christopher Bell, who's off the racetrack, 2 points above the cutoff line. Matt Tiff 2 points below it.
And these points are very important for Redick, but he is going to have to stay within the confines of how his car is driving. We've seen Redick push the button and push too hard and make contact with the wall. This is not the day for that. You can run 6th or 7th with an average day. You need to get those points. You see him making a move to the bottom right now.
yeah, he's hoping that these lap cars in front will be an advantage for him as they come off this corner, but I don't think so.
No, but there's a couple more lap cars, so what are they going to do? As the 18 enters 1 and 2, he's going to have to decide. Is he going to follow lap cars around the top? He's going to run the top one more time.
So he's not quite on the raw where Redick is. Redick's able to get up there. Oh, he's loose.
Sideways.
Woo.
Inside.
Just like you said, Jeff.
Hold on to
Got to
it.
reel it in just a little bit.
Somebody needs to be talking to him. Explain to him what his situation
Back.
is.
Just another lap or so. Let's get to the checker here.
There you go. I love his effort.
Oh, the 18 has been spun on the front stretch across the nose of the lap cars. Ryan Preece in the wall.
And the caution will come out just before the end of stage 1. Some shrapnel coming off of the 18 now. You see the damage to the back.
And that damage is significant.
There's a one of Garrett Smithley.
Talk so much about the 9. Well, maybe that moment kind of saved him. He got him back here, and look at the 18. He's at the bottom. What he thinks is 2 wide, and then it turns into 3 wide, and they just really come down and get him in the quarter panel, spinning the 18 around.
Something's going on there with a 35 of Joey Gase. I mean, it looked like he just drove up there and just moved him.
Yeah, looking at Joey Gase's car, it looks like there's some damage from that. I don't know if that came from earlier between these two guys, but yeah, he just puts the 0 car in the fence. And they're still hitting each other. You can see that Smith is not very happy.
Racing for the free pass, guys? Racing for the free pass, maybe. I think it was that close.
Yeah, you're right.
There's racing and then there's wrecking. You know?
Well, they're not done doing either yet.
Yeah, I don't think they're happy with each other.
But Davis spot on. That's what it was. They were racing to be the first car lap down.
That would have received the free pass. You see, but on pit road, the 18 had to come to pit road because of the damage and what had been done to that car, even though pit road was closed.
And that gave Matt Tiff a spot. That moved everybody up. You know what I mean? When he had that trouble, that moved Redick up a spot, Sadler up a spot, Tiff up a spot. That was 1 more point for all those guys.
In the background, remember, the 18 is still in contention for the championship in the owner's side.
John Hunter Nemechek wins stage 2. Bringing the whole family to a NASCAR race has never been easier or cheaper. Kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series race on the schedule. Then there's discounted tickets also available for every Monster Energy Cup Series event. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/kids tickets. A couple guys there having some fun.
He's going to dismantle that fan view. Don't do it. Don't do it. You'll be in trouble.
Your dad's going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, Mom and Dad are nowhere in sight.
Isn't that how you figure out how everything worked, Jeff? Is you
take it apart?
Yeah, take it apart.
Yeah, my parents can attest to that. Came on one day, my motorcycle was in pieces. My dad was not happy.
I always remember taking things apart, and then when I put them back together, I'd have a couple extra pieces and not really realize what happened. I wonder where this came from.
You don't need
Ross Chastain coming down to have them service his car.
Hoodless Ross Chastain.
These cars that are on pit road are on pit road because they had damage and wanted to get a little jump on the start to work on these.
And he's asking the official if he can install a rod to hold the quarter panel. NASCAR allows, you're not supposed to add materials to the body, but they do allow a rod to be put on the chassis to the body to keep the quarter panel from flapping around. But he was asking the official if it was okay if he installed that.
That's such a quick, cool way of doing that, man. He drilled a hole in the quarter panel, got a rod through it. That whole rod comes through the quarter panel hole, and then he just car keys it or safety pins it there. Hood pins it. That's quick. You got to be quick. You got to be ingenious, and these guys really are getting smarter and smarter about how to repair these cars.
Pit road is open, Kelly.
And Matt Tifton, the 2 car, will be one of the first to make his pit stop. He said that his car was just a little bit snug that run, but he asked for no chassis adjustment and air pressure adjustment in the right rear, some water and a tear off for the 2 car, Parker.
John Hunter has led 34 laps so far, just still too free, over-rotating the center in that 42 car, 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment.
Daniel Hamrick, first and second in the stages today, said he was too loose into turn 3, needs rear grip to get back to the gas and also to run the high line like they would like him to. An air pressure adjustment, also a little tape on the grill right there. They will win the race off pit road. Maybe they can use that to their advantage on this restart, Rick.
We'll see what Daniel Hamrick does with the lead as he's been able to win the race off of pit road and get in front of John Hunter Nemechek.
back here in Kansas, the tailgating continues today, but it's Elimination Sunday tomorrow in the Heartland. There you see our schedule. We'll be joining you at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for the NASCAR America pre-race show right here at the Peacock Pit Box, where I'm sitting right now inside the Kansas Speedway. If you go to this racetrack's website, the very first thing you'll see on the front page, action, drama, repeat. We saw that today on the very first lap of this Xfinity Series race. You have 8 drivers in these playoffs. 4 were involved or affected on this lap 1 wreck, including the top 2 drivers, Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier. They have already gone home. They're not in the race or weren't at this point because their cars could not get back on track. That means basically like taking the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots and just removing them from the Sunday action. So all of these other drivers, the other 4 in the playoffs, this is opportunity Saturday for them, and they are making the most of it, like Daniel Hamrick, Matt Tifft, Elliott Sadler. What will happen in this final stage? Could one of them, like Daniel Hamrick, get his very first win of the season today?
That would be huge as we look at the Stage 2 results and the points that they received, because the caution came out before the end of Stage 2. Daniel Hamrick, Tyler Redick, Elliott Sadler, Matt Tifft finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So respectively, those are the points that they received to end Stage 2. Now it's all about getting that checkered flag. Hamrick has chosen the outside line for the restart. John Hunter Nemechek on the inside.
Nemechek trying to side draft him, slow that momentum down.
Much more aggressive restart, and it's going to get more and more aggressive as we get further into this race. Guys pushing and carrying on. Hamrick going to pull clear off of turn 2.
Now we have seen John Hunter Nemechek behind Hamrick and chasing him down. As you look at Tyler Redick and the 9 move up to 3rd. Tifft is 4th. Shane Lee and the 1 of Elliott Sadler are fighting for that spot.
Elliott Sadler just couldn't carry enough speed getting into the corner and then roll in the middle. Shane Lee on the outside. See Elliott riding along with him. You just barely see the inside car, inside of Shane Lee. Cleared him into 3. It's in good shape now.
Now that Hamrick has clean air out in front of that 21, how does John Hunter Nemechek close the gap and get by? We've seen him get close, but we haven't seen him be able to complete that pass.
After a few more laps, he can probably move up that racetrack into that middle groove and just try to creep in on that 21 and eventually be at the fence. Around 10, 15 laps into this run, making that high side work. See if they've made the balance better on that 42 car. He's pretty loose on that run before.
I think that'll be a huge advantage, this track position that Hamrick has right now. If they didn't make that 42 better, that'll be a huge advantage for Hamrick.
There he goes, 42 to the middle of the racetrack.
Now, Junior, how long before you would want to know as a driver to move up? It's early just yet, but it didn't take long.
Yep.
Hamrick already went to the middle.
Hamrick's trying to move to the middle because he's watching that mirror, probably getting some information from his spotter to let him know where that 42 is running, and I think the 42 countered that by running the bottom.
As those two race, I have my eye on that 9 of Tyler Redick back in 3rd. We saw that battle between him and Ryan Preece, and that 9, Junior, he really takes every last inch of asphalt, and I think as we look, about 100 laps to go in the race, just under 100 laps to go, if this runs green, you're talking 2 really long runs. That could benefit that 9.
He is not afraid to run the bottom or the top, and he likes to run up top, and that's why he feels so confident here at Kansas. Finished 2nd in this race last year. Jeff, you know the spotter for Daniel Hamrick very well, Brandon Lyons, and he literally updates him almost play-by-play exactly what the 42 is doing behind him. And yes, that was reactionary. He said the 42 moved up, gained a little bit of speed, so you saw the 21 move up to the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, Brandon's a spotter for my son, and he gives a lot of information about what's going on behind you so that it allows the driver just to focus on the front windshield. So he'll be giving Daniel Hamrick that information. Now, right now, I think there's enough gap, Junior, that he should just run wherever he's the fastest. Just put it wherever you want to go, wherever you think is the fastest.
It surprised me. The 42 must be turning really good. Maybe even on the free side to be running low, still trying to make that bottom work and doing a decent job of it. made his time early in that race on the top. But you look at him, he's running that bottom line, trying to make that bottom work, and the car's turning down there. He's just
to get air on the nose.
going up against a car in Hamrick that's incredibly fast all weekend.
And I love the rhythm that Daniel Hamrick's in. Watch, he's going to turn down in the corner. All the focus is out the windshield. You're looking at him on the left-hand side of your screen, working the wheel, But as he comes up with the straightaway, look, he's going to look up and check the mirror.
Yeah.
Right here, just take a little glance.
Look at your progress.
Yeah, am I in front, behind? How'd I do?
Yeah.
But this is where you can't look in the mirror. This is where you have to focus on what's in front of you.
It's pretty
That's
good on
why
the bottom
spotter.
You gained about 2 cars on entry.
That's where that spotter information is important. And you heard him say a couple laps before, he said, okay, the 42's running the bottom because you're running the top. So then Hamrick went to the bottom to take that away from John Hunter.
Yeah, Hamrick's moved. Once he was running the top, he's moved to the bottom of the racetrack. See if he can make time down there.
And that's frustrating. If you're John Hunter Nemechek, you're like, well, man, why do you quit taking my line? You know, just run where you're going to run. And Hamrick is just taking away anything that John Hunter's trying to do.
That time, John Hunter Nemechek went up the racetrack, ran that higher line as we see Elliott Sadler and Matt Tifft fighting for a spot. That's for 4th. And Sadler's going to take it away from Tifft. Can he complete the pass and stay in front of him? He will.
Oh, sneaky Elliott Sadler.
Yeah.
Been there before, done that. We saw last year how close he came to winning the championship. Extremely disappointed, made the announcement that this was his last year. So this race could be huge for him to get him to Miami with a chance to win the championship.
And you know, Jeff, you joked with him about the eye contact during the pre-race interview as riding around, but I do think he's in a great place. He looks like he is ready for this to be his last year. And what I mean by that, he's just comfortable, right? He feels excited to be here. He's energized. He's ready for this run to Miami.
Yeah, Steve, Elliott Sadler did seem very relaxed, kind of joking around, taking pictures with fans just before getting into the race car. And he does count this as one of the most important races left on the schedule between here and the championship race in Miami. He said this just can really help set the tone. He said it's important for us to come away with a top 5 here, if not a race win. But he felt like if they come here and run well at this track, it bodes well for a couple other mile-and-a-half tracks that we'll be headed to, including that racetrack in Miami where the championship race will be held.
Up front, the top 2, Daniel Hamrick and John Hunter Nemechek, looking for their first win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway. Hopefully you've enjoyed NASCAR Nonstop. You haven't missed a thing. You've been watching the leader, Daniel Hamrick, hold off John Hunter Nemechek. Meanwhile, let's give you our Toyota driver update for this afternoon. That's Ryan Preece now running in 13th position. Recall what happened when Garrett Smithley in the 0 and Joey Gase in the 35 were running for the free pass position. They got into each other and into Preece. Sent him into the wall, sent him to pit road for repairs. Look what the crewman does. He says, I've got a piece. I want to bolster up this left rear quarter panel. Is that okay, as I understand the rule? The official says, yes, it is. In some walks of life or in some situations, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Ha, not with NASCAR. You better make sure you have permission first. Understanding the rule, the crewman goes to work. He braces up that left rear quarter panel, and now Ryan Preece is in the same position that the others were racing for. He's in the free pass position, and when the caution comes out, he would be able to go around and get back on the lead lap.
Sounds to me like you're predicting a caution there, Dave.
It's possible.
When the caution comes out. This is the final stage, as there are still 84 laps to go. Tyler Redick trying to hold on to third, but Elliott Sadler's been running very strong.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick's had the fastest car on the racetrack for the last 4 or 5 laps, and Elliott Sadler behind him has been keeping pace. So Tyler's running down John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hamrick a little bit at the time. Not big hunks, but he's faster than those guys.
They're spread out by quite a ways now. Hamrick has almost a second lead over John Hunter Nemechek, and then Nemechek about a second and a half over Tyler Redick. And it's another second back to Elliott Sadler.
And that 9 car, as you guys mentioned, creating speed on the top of the racetrack. Talked to Tyler before the race started. He said, yeah, we've been fast at pretty much all of these mile-and-a-halves, but mistakes, especially in stage 3, where we are right now, that's what's hurt us. Mistakes that I've made. He said, I have to be mistake-free today. He made contact with the wall a little bit earlier, but so far, mistake-free in stage 3 for Tyler Redick, hoping to advance himself to Miami with a win today.
And he's running right against the wall. The highest that we've seen anyone run.
Well, and today is going to be a day that he's going to have to decide what's more valuable to him. At 22 years old, he's only 12 points above the cut line. I mean, that's decent, but it's not a guarantee. A win would be a guarantee to head to Miami. How much does he push? Is he willing to take those last few inches? It appears that he is, because I'm not sure there are inches left.
Yeah, I don't think he knows but 1 gear. That's all out. But the thing about it, right against that wall is where the speed is.
And we saw Parker was in turn 1 earlier. Parker, have you moved from turn 1 now?
I have moved. I'm now in turn 4, basically the exit of 3 and 4 over here. We're talking about how close these drivers are running to the wall. Well, I feel like I found a cool example of this, because when you look behind me, you're going to see the cars go right up next to the wall, but then they disappear because they're so close to the wall. So I actually discovered something. Watch this. Well, there's Daniel Hamrick going by. John Hunter closely in tow. If I walk all the way down here, I'm going to get real close. This is quite scary again. I can actually look down in the cars down here as they go by up at the wall. Let's see if we can get one that's real close. Here comes Ryan Reed. Watch this. He'll be able to look down into his car basically. Right there, I see him wheeling it. That's great.
Through the turns, carrying speeds over 150 miles an hour. Through the turns, we've seen them get upwards of 195 as they enter turn number 1. So such incredible speeds and running literally inches away from the wall.
They're so fast. Look at that. I love that shot when they're going away. They're fast when they're coming to you, but when they're leaving, it looks just like they're going 500 mile an hour. It's crazy.
They're checking out. There's race leader Daniel Hamrick as he goes by and rockets away. Hamrick now with a 0.7 of a second lead over John Hunter Nemechek.
They basically have been trading lap time for the last several laps. And Nemechek will run about a 10th quicker, and then Hamrick will run about a 10th quicker, kind of depending on how they're getting to and passing the lap traffic. Don't think John's car is quite as good as it was the run before. Hamrick, you know, he's had the dominant car all weekend, and now with the clean air, is taking advantage of that.
And I think right now, if you're the 42, you have about 20, 22 laps to a pit stop. So John Hunter Nemechek needs to think, I just need to stay within striking distance, close enough to the 21 that I perhaps could beat him to pit road by a lap and gain him time, perhaps even jump him for the lead on and off pit road. Although as I look at the last lap time, you're pointing at the monitor, 2/10 quicker than the leader.
Yeah, that was both those guys in clean air. But for the most part, without any lap traffic, obviously John Nemechek's battling a little bit of dirty air there behind the 21, even that far back. But great lap by him.
That was a great lap. That lap was faster than anybody's run the last 10 or 15 laps. And right there, he went at 83. So they have found some more speed. That's unusual, isn't it, guys? To find speed. Wow. Wow.
It's getting close.
I mean, you're going to have to stay out of the leader's way when they're coming.
I'm sure Bobby Earnhardt in the 66, that one probably caught his breath a bit. Bobby, brother to Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Yeah, that cost John Hunter Nemechek quite a bit of time right there. Those 2/10 that he gained a couple laps ago, they're gone now. He's back to 8/10 back.
I'm sure he wasn't happy about it either.
I wouldn't be happy either.
No.
And again, the speeds at the line closing in on 174 miles an hour. We know that when they get to turn 1, we've seen the speeds over 190 miles an hour. Right there, Hamrick, a little slide coming off of 4.
Yeah, he had to run the bottom to get around some of these lap cars, and that's going to allow John Hunter to maybe gain, not quite, doesn't run any faster.
No, John Hunter's catching traffic in a really bad situation right here. He's going to try to take him 3 wide.
We're hearing the Priest has a right rear tire issue, and
he's going to bring it to pit road. Steve, I was going to ask, you know, only 5 sets of tires, 1 on the car, 4 in the pits. With all the cautions early, is that a concern for these teams maybe that if a caution came out late, they'd have enough tires?
Well, all the leaders in my calculations have 2 sets of tires left on pit road. So with 72 laps to go, I expect them all to pit here probably in about 15, 18 laps under green. That leaves them still 1 set if we see a yellow in those closing laps. Because with only 11 cars in the lead lap there, Rick, you're definitely going to want new tires if the yellow comes out.
Hamrick still with a 1-second lead over Nemechek. We go NASCAR nonstop. Daniel Hamrick leads the Kansas Lottery 300 from Kansas Speedway, but right now he's getting a heck of a battle from the 42 of John Hunter Nemechek.
As you saw during commercial, Hamrick is finding his car be a little bit looser. The bounce has kind of gone away. Look at him. You see the car moving around a little bit right there, and John Hunter Nemechek sees that too. And his car, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek, he's just going to have to try to get as close as he can to Hamrick to see if he can get him loose. But the problem with it, Hamrick's in that preferred lane. It's going to be hard to ever get by him unless Hamrick makes a mistake.
Well, Jeff, I think Mike Shiplett, the crew chief of the 42, now it's up to him, right? 65 laps to go. We expect they can go just under 60 on fuel, so in about 5 or 6 laps, the fuel window will open. Junior, if I'm Mike Shiplett, I'm going to pit a lap before the 21. I'm going to try to be on pit road first because you can tell they already are looking for tires as they slip and slide.
Yeah, they're using everything they can on that racetrack, trying to take advantage. When running the top, you start to go full throttle through here, and you cannot lift on corner exit, or that basically takes away the whole advantage. So when you start to lose a race car on corner exit, it's hard to lift because you're going to give up that advantage, that momentum.
Longest green flag run of the day, 39 laps and counting. This will be lap 40.
Oh man, this is the funnest thing you'll do at Kansas Motor Speedway. Running the fence, battling for the lead. It doesn't get any funner than this at this racetrack than what these two guys are doing right now.
And you know, we heard a report a little bit ago from Marty Snyder about how important it was, Danny Stockman, the 21 crew chief of Daniel Hamrick, how important it was for him to learn to run the top. Well, I'm going to tell you, Junior, I think Daniel Hamrick has made great adjustments today. He's got himself running the top, doing what he needs to do. His entry is right against the wall. He's carrying speed on corner exit. He's made huge gains only in this race at running the top.
Yeah, his entry into one right there, you see it. He's opened it up quite a bit. He's giving up a lot on that entry to make sure he's maximizing what he can on corner exit. And the higher you enter, the quicker you can use the throttle in the center of the corner and really get the car rolling off the corner. Also got a little bit of a handling or a balance issue that he's dealing with too, and he's doing a great job with that to maintain this lead.
Good point, Junior. The car too free right now for the 21 of Daniel Hamrick, especially on the entry of 3, and that does hurt him running that higher line a little bit. Daniel told me this is a brand new race car. This is the first car I've had I feel like I can really complete the corner with, running the high line like they want me to. Brand new car that they would love to take to Miami and run for a championship with. So first run for this car, and pretty happy with it, hoping they can get to these green flag stops, hanging on to the lead, which are coming very quickly, guys.
Last couple of times by, Daniel Hamrick's really done a great job putting a little bit of distance between him and John Hunter Nemechek.
Green flag pit stops are coming. We'll take a quick break and be right back. The fight to get to Miami continues 2 weeks. The Xfinity Series returns to Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. It's going to be on NBCSN November 3rd. That will be the second race of the round of 8. And there's a good possibility that one of the top 5 could punch their ticket for Miami today. One of those could be Daniel Hamrick. But Redick, Sadler, and Tiff all running in the top 5. And as a matter of fact, there's only 5 cars on the lead lap now.
And we already know going to Texas that Christopher Bell and Allgaier, 2 of the favorites, those guys got a lot of work to do. What looked like could be an easy round for them now just became extremely difficult, not to mention Cole Custer, who's had a lot of speed as well.
Steve, these guys are inside the window, and if you're in the 42 car, John Hunter Nemechek, wouldn't you come to pit road?
Yes, absolutely. I think Mike Shiplett needs to bring the 42 car in this lap. I thought you should have brought him in a couple laps ago. Give your driver a chance to win the race. I think you've been shown that Daniel Hamrick is not going to make a mistake running the top. He's done a great job. The 42 of John Hunter Nemechek has also done a great job. Now's the time. These new tires will be worth over a second compared to the old tires, so if he can come to pit road now, have a clean stop. Burton, I believe if they beat the 21 off pit road in the cycle, I'm not sure the 21 could get back by him.
I agree 100%, but what you're going to have to remember is these are young drivers. Young drivers make mistakes getting on pit road. This pit road is a difficult pit road to get to. They cannot make a mistake, overshoot pit road, get caught speeding on pit road. So many dangers are there just on a green flag pit stop, Parker.
Jeff, he just came across radio, and he'd been complaining about being too loose by himself, but getting stuck behind the 21. He's been falling back and continue to be tight, Kelly.
There's the 2 of Matt Tifft. He said he was a little bit too free that run, so they made a chassis adjustment. They're putting his last set of sticker tires on. And then the 1 of Elliott Sadler is also going to make his way to pit road. He told his team that he was a little bit snug getting to the center of the turns, and he was a little bit free coming off of turn 4. They gave him a tear off. They'll also give him 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Top 2 slowing down to come to pit road. Look at the closing rate the 42 had on him.
Nemechek destroyed Hamrick getting on pit road.
Coming to you, Parker.
And that's what it's all about, Rick, being able to make up time, getting on pit road, nailing your pit road speed here.
Oh, he
slid a little far there. He's backed it up. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. We'll see how much time he loses here. It could be a disaster, though, on the back end, Marty.
And that was somewhat by design from Daniel Hamrick. Remember Dover 2 weeks ago, he got a speeding penalty at the end of stage 2. They felt like they had that race won. He told me, I'm going to back myself down this week to make sure that we're good on pit road. He said a little bit tighter on entry on that run, but he was pretty happy with the car, especially the speed early in the run. Tyler Redick also on pit road. He said on throttle, he's too edgy, but he really wanted them to focus on his entry, guys.
I don't like the timing of the 42, and I don't like the execution of the 42.
There you see the difference. And when you miss your box, that's what happens. They came on pit road side by side. Look at him driving that car sideways across the apron, trying to make up as much time as he can. Marty. Hey, Marty.
And Tyler Redick on pit road. What's up, Junior? One of your cars here on pit road. Tyler Redick, he said his car too edgy on the gas. What they tried to focus on, air pressure adjustment for the 9 car. He was running 3rd for much of that run. We'll see where he cycles out on this green flag stop.
They may have gotten lucky that tire was still on the inside half of the pit box, Steve. It was starting to roll back out in front of the car.
Yeah, as long as it's on the left half of the pit box, though, it doesn't have to be within arm's reach of a crew member. I'm sure NASCAR will take a look at it, especially on the green flag. All of these stops are easy to be reviewed.
So check out the 21 car of Daniel Hamrick. He's running in second because Redick has not pitted yet. I'm sorry, he just pitted. So
yep, he just pitted.
He did pit. So look at the distance. Look at Hamrick. All the way back here is John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek did a great job of getting on pit road. An unbelievable job getting on pit road, but then overshot the pits. Now he's over 3 seconds behind. Great job on one end. We talked about it. Young drivers making mistakes. We see it all the time. Here he comes, just too much speed, coming in too hot, misses it by 4 inches.
Yeah, inches.
4 inches.
And the 21-year-old, that little mistake. We talked about how this has to be a job interview for John Hunter Nemechek, because we saw Ross Chastain get into this 42 and ran so well, almost won at Darlington, then was able to win at Las Vegas. And now with John Hunter Nemechek behind the wheel, everyone's looking, saying, well, we know this car has the ability to go out and win. What is the ability of the driver?
And Rick, you know, I spoke to John Hunter Nemechek before this race, and I said, you know, some people feel like there's pressure on you to go and get that win. He said, I don't feel any pressure because I'm learning, and I've learned a lot over this season. And he said, you know, when you look at it, this is only my 15th start. Oh, he gets very loose there down in 1 and 2. He said, it's my 15th start, and I've gotten better as a driver through this whole season. So therefore, he doesn't feel the pressure to win. He wants to continue to learn. He feels like he has gotten better, and he's proved it.
And that's the other thing. He has run great today. He has run very, very well, impressive. Currently running second. So even if he doesn't get the win, Junior, is this a positive on his resume?
I don't think that he will feel like it is if he loses the race, knowing that he had that mistake on pit road. But he's done a great job today. But you can look at the race car. He is extremely loose. And on this green flag pit cycle, it's even looser now. And so he's fighting that issue. He just needs to kind of sit tight, wait on an opportunity or a caution to come out to bunch the field back up, bring him back up close to Hamrick for an opportunity to beat him. I don't know if he has the car to be able to run him down here with 44 laps to go.
Well, Tyler Redick in third, he's thinking if I can get by the 42, then I'll be on the front row if we have a yellow for a restart. So that 9 car, that could be the difference, right? It's not just where you are for points and position. Got to continue to race. You never know how these last 44 laps will go.
Yeah, I think another factor, we've seen it all day long. We've seen lap traffic play a role today, and I wouldn't expect, you know, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see lap traffic come into play, catch Daniel Hamrick, lose a lot of time. If Nemechek can find a little bit of speed, maybe he can run him down. He's probably going to have some help, though, but we've seen Nemechek's car is good on long runs. Plus, I mean, with the kind of racing we've seen so far today, would anybody be surprised to see a bunch of cautions at the end of this race?
That lap right there, Nemechek's 4/10 faster than Hamrick. 3.1 seconds back. If he runs that fast, that good, he could run him down, but I just think Hamrick's too quick today.
And a lot of traffic that are playing into how this race is going to unfold. John Hunter Nemechek trying to find a way around some of this lap traffic.
That's a tough situation for John Hunter Nemechek there. Look at that, let the car get loose underneath John Hunter Nemechek. Truex fighting the balance on his car with the issues he's had today and the damage.
Ryan Truex, younger brother to Martin Truex Jr., running that 11 as John Hunter Nemechek was able to clear him. Now 6 cars on the lead lap, including the 3 of Shane Lee. Hamrick, Nemechek, Redick, Sadler, Tift, and Shane Lee all on the lead lap. Hamrick out front as we go NASCAR nonstop. And we see Vinnie Miller stopped on the exit of pit road, and heard that they may have just run out of gas, and he's coming off of pit road. That would be difficult to do, but he stalled, and that brings out the caution. And of course, that will also raise the heart rate for some of the crew chiefs, as Danny Stockman, we saw there watching the monitor. He is the crew chief for Daniel Hamrick.
And Rick, with only 6 cars in the lead lap, 14 laps in these tires, I think you have to pit. If you have a set of tires in your pit box, I just don't think, I mean, with only 6 cars, I mean, the worst you're going to start is 6th on newer tires. I just don't think you can risk, if you're the 21, giving the 42 or the 9 or somebody the chance to have a tire advantage. We'll see what these crew chiefs do, though.
Track position has been so key. And
everybody's coming with us.
They will come down pit road. And that was a, I'm sure, sigh of relief when you heard everyone is coming with us. Elliott Sadler in his pit stall.
And Rick, with fresh tires, Elliott says he's just snug getting to the center and free getting off the turns. A 2-tire call there.
John Hunter was told to follow the 21. If he pits, we pit. He's going to do Ford Goodyear tires here in Sunoco Field. And Marty, he was just a little too loose behind the 21.
Tyler Redick said the car was a little too free taking off there. They're going to go with 4 Goodyear tires. Daniel Hamrick with the same call further up pit road. He said it was just on the splitter taking off. Elliott Sadler with that 2-tire call. He wins the race off pit road. Everybody else on 4 Goodyear tires.
A huge strategy call for the one team and Elliott Sadler. Will it pay off for Kevin Mindering? .34 laps still to go, and the 42 had to come back to pit road, Parker.
That he did, Rick. Unfortunately, they had left a couple lug nuts loose. It looked like on the left front. It was either 3 or 4 lug nuts loose here. You can see they're on the left front there, and they just go as he's still trying to tighten them there, and it just didn't happen. Kelly?
When we saw the 2 of Matt Tifft opt to stay out during that caution, and here's why.
I think we're going to stay out here, Matt. You got 12, 13 green flag laps on these. You got 12 or 13 green flag laps on the ones laying in the pit.
Remember, they had that vibration earlier because of a wheel issue, so they used that extra set of sticker tires early in this race. Didn't have any fresh ones to put on the 2.
So now Matt Tifft, who has a little bit older tires, will start up front. He's race leader. Elliott Sadler, who did a 2-tire stop on pit road, got off of pit road first, but now he'll have to start second.
So think about this lineup. You have
Matt Tifft on old tires, starting, controlling the restart. You have Elliott Sadler. He just did 2. The fastest car all day long is Daniel Hamrick. He's on the inside. Tyler Redick on the outside. Right now he's thinking, can I go 3 wide? Can I get to the very top? Because the 2 car has got super old tires. So watch for Tyler Redick to be exceptionally aggressive on this restart. John Hunter Nemechek right behind him.
That's one thing that Tyler Redick has never been accused of, is not being aggressive. So we would expect him to try to be aggressive right away to take those spots away.
And guys, you see where the 42's restarting there, because there were so many wave around cars. You know, normally he'd be at the back of this pack, but I believe because there were so many, he got to start all the way up there near the 3.
Yeah, that's a huge break for the 42.
And getting ready for the restart. Matt Tifft on the outside, Sadler on the inside. Good push coming from the 21. Sadler surging ahead. Daniel Hamrick moves to second.
John Hunter Nemechek on the outside, on the very outside. He needs a good run here to get in position to win this race. Matt Tifft moving out of the way. That was a huge break for Nemechek.
With Hamrick with more speed than Sadler all day long, will he get held up by this one car trying to get by? Will that allow John Hunter Nemechek to get up here and get a little piece of this battle for the lead?
A series of great breaks for Nemechek.
Oh, look at Sadler can't get to the throttle. And you see how Hamrick gets a run.
Going to the outside for the lead. Daniel Hamrick taking it away from Sadler as they go into turn 3.
John Hunter Nemechek on the top. He's going to have a great run on both these guys coming off of turn 4. Man, great work by John Hunter Nemechek in the last few laps to be right where he is. The back bumper of that 21 car.
And once again, the 2 are battling for the lead. John Hunter Nemechek chasing after Hamrick.
Big run down the back straightaway here. 42 car really committed to the top on that turn 1 and 2.
Hamrick changed his line, went to the top in 3 and 4. I think he had to. Nemechek on the bottom.
Middle, 2 lanes down.
Wow, what a battle.
Oh, Hamrick does not have rear grip. Nemechek's going to take the lead here.
He's trying to stay away from him. Back to the quarter panel for the side draft.
And Hamrick up on the high side, now through the middle.
Hamrick's
John Hunter Nemechek surging ahead.
Oh, he backed up for a crossover. Wow.
Here comes Hamrick on the inside.
Now watch Nemechek. He's going to try to get right on that right rear quarter panel of the 21 to take the air off of it. Look how close he is.
He stays in the middle of the track. Hamrick trying to be in the gas quick. Now here comes Nemechek again on the outside.
Side draft is so important. That's why Hamrick has to chase him up the racetrack.
What a great battle for the lead. Nemechek on the outside. Now Hamrick falls in behind. John Hunter Nemechek out in front.
I didn't see that coming. John Hunter Nemechek that far behind on that restart. What has he done in these last few laps? He's taken over this race.
I thought Nemechek was done because Parker gave a great report about why he could line up, why he lined up. I expected he was going to have to be in the back of the pack, caught a break with all those pass arounds, and then Hamrick's car just does not look as good as it was early in this race. He's already running 30, running much slower than he did earlier.
That's something these drivers have to learn, Dale, right? With experience, you know, right? The adjustments you need, that last run, you always drive more aggressively. You're going to ask more out of your car. You kind of almost have to guess what you think it's going to do, whether you're going to lose front grip or rear grip.
Yeah, as loose as the 42's been all day long, the track does get tighter, and this final run will be as tight as the track's been all day long. So it just may have came to him. This track may have really came toward the 42's favor.
And I'm going to tell you who's in the pits right now, pulling hard for John Hunter Nemechek, Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier. They do not want a guy to win and go ahead and advance themselves to Miami.
That's right, John Hunter Nemechek not a part of the playoffs. And as we mentioned earlier, really fighting for a win, wanting to get a win so that he could potentially get a ride, a full-time ride in either Xfinity Series or the Cup Series. John Hunter Nemechek fighting for his resume.
And he made that mistake shooting through his box, and he was in a bad place, in a bad situation,
But now, what he's done in just those last few laps, everyone's seen what he's just accomplished to be able to take that lead and potentially win this race. Parker.
And guys, there's another layer to this, maybe a family element per se for the Nemecheks here at Kansas Speedway. His father, Joe Nemechek, front row Joe, won here back in 2004 for his last Xfinity Series win there. But then guess what? He went on the next day to score a win in the Cup Series, being his last win in the Cup Series. And guess who was in victory lane with him on that day? None other than young John Hunter Nemechek right there. Very blonde hair, now he's a brunette. But what would it mean to him to go here and get his first win in the Xfinity Series, knowing how much success his dad had here? And guess what? His dad is the only guy to ever sweep the Xfinity Cup Series here at Kansas Speedway.
John Hunter Nemechek just ran a 30-33 to Hamrick's 30-83.
And he just about ran in the wall. I mean, he
right
is
against
not,
the wall.
Yeah, I mean, he's a half a second faster than Hamrick.
Well, Dale, you talked about this at the top of the show, right? Ross Chastain gets a break and gets to drive this 42 car. What's he do? He dominates Darlington, gets in an accident, doesn't get the win. Then he comes back and he dominates and wins Las Vegas, runs second at Richmond in 3 races, 3 winning type race cars. John Hunter splitting this ride. This is his resume, right? He has to come out here. This is his audition, trying to build his resume. Doesn't have a ride for next year. He has to feel that pressure. Ross Chastain was talked about by everyone in the sport of what he did. This was his chance to prove he deserves a quality ride like this 42.
Yeah, coming into this season, everybody was excited about John Hunter Nemechek finally securing the funding to get into a great race car at this level.
Looks like Tyler Redick might have caught the wall with the right rear quarter panel there.
He's been trying to get by his teammate, Elliott Sadler. Elliott on 2 tires.
Didn't think it looked that bad.
Look at him getting loose here. That's pretty good contact with the right rear quarter panel. He's going to move that quarter panel over and lose a little bit of side force. He's not going to have the balance that he's had. Look, he's buckled that rear quarter panel has come loose from the tailpiece. The tailpiece has come unsealed from the trunk. Now that's going to really make that car hard to drive as you see it.
Now at this point, they just need to try to get him into the finish, right? There's only a few cars in the lead lap. He's currently running 5th. There's only 8 total. Don't make the issue worse. Don't compound it with another accident with only 20 to go.
Again, every point that they can get over the competitors that are currently off the racetrack, that aren't even in the fight anymore, that's what they need to do with Tyler Redick. He's running 5th. Matt Tiff behind him running 6th. But again, Hamrick and Sadler, the other 2 playoff contenders, are still out on the track in the top 5.
Yeah, we talked about Kevin Harvick kind of moves off the wall in situations like this. When it's not necessary to run right on the fence, he doesn't take that risk. He just moves away from the wall, maybe give up a little bit of time, but he gets himself to where he wants to go. And I think that's what Tyler Redick kind of needs to learn, is how to understand when to push and when not to push. He's got a great opportunity to capitalize on some of these guys who's had trouble.
Under 19 laps to go. Let's do a playoff driver update. We'll start with Marty.
And Rick, you can hear the dejection in Daniel Hamrick's voice. Let's go back for the last 3 races. The Roval looked like they were going to win at Charlotte. He will hop late, lost the lead there. Then at Dover, had the best car there, sped on pit road, blamed that one on himself today, leading 128 laps. Looks like he might not be able to pull off the win here at Kansas. Daniel Hamrick right now in 2nd, Kelly.
Elliott Sadler had been running 4th. It was a strategy call of 2 tires that gave him a front row starting position on that restart, but the 2 tires not really working out. Elliott just saying he is tight. Feels like he's on the splitter, so the team telling him, look, take a deep breath, be smooth, let's just finish this thing out and take our 3rd place finish.
Tyler Redick hanging on in the 5th position. We saw the contact with the wall just a moment ago. Dave Etlins told him, hey, hang on to it for these final 17 laps. Let's just try and finish here on the lead lap. But in the big picture, they came into the round of 8, -1 below the cut line. Right now, +11, sitting 3rd in the championship.
Matt Tifton, that 2 car, making his 2nd start here at Kansas, and he said a year ago the biggest learning curve was really migrating towards the top of the racetrack and carrying momentum around this place. He spent a ton of time on a race simulator just to get comfortable with it. They said it's not an identical, not completely realistic to what you experience in the race, but they felt like it was a really big help. The team has been very complimentary of his racing during this race, and remember, he did not come to pit road during that last caution, so he's out there on the oldest tires amongst the leaders.
Kelly, I think Cole Custer deserves a big attaboy. Right now running in 26. Remember, he was involved in that lap 1 wreck. As we ride on board with him, we see that sandpaper tape on the steering wheel. He's had no power steering in essence since lap 1. He has muscled it out today. They are 18 laps down, but he has not quit. Running in 26, that's pretty impressive, guys.
That is impressive. He's just trying to get as many points as he can. There's still 2 races left after this one. Still time to get himself to Miami with a chance to win that championship.
John Hunter Nemechek over the last couple laps has kind of slowed down, maybe realized the situation he's in, the big 4.5 second lead that he has, and he's running 30.90s, 31 flats. Same thing as Hamrick and Sadler back there in second and third. Parker.
And Junior might have hit the nail on the head there. You were talking about Tyler Redick and having to learn maybe to back it off. We'll take a listen to the 42's radio here.
Sneeze here. Try not to go so hard. It's about 3/4 straightaway back to the 21. He's just going hard enough to try to stay in front of the 1. You're going to be coming back to 15 to go.
There you have it. He's just backing it off, doing exactly as you said, just running hard enough to keep that lead.
Well, 2 reasons. Oh, sorry, Jeff. I was going to say 2 reasons. One reason I'm going to tell you to move off the walls is to save your car. But, Jeff, can you just save a little bit of tire in case we get a late caution?
I think that's the whole point. You have a big enough lead, almost 5 seconds. You know, you can win by a second and it counts the same. So, really, if you are this much better, save your tires, take care of your car. You might get a late race restart. Those better tires can help you win the race.
John Hunter Nemechek, we mentioned, has not won in the Xfinity Series. He's got 6 wins in the Camping World Truck Series. Famous father, Joe Nemechek, we saw as he was just a kid at Kansas in Victory Lane when his dad was celebrating wins here.
Back in second place, Hamrick and Sadler starting to have a little bit of a battle brewing. Sadler's been right around this distance, closing it at times, running different lines, trying to move around and try to figure out how he can maybe get to that 21 car, but he hasn't been able to do it. Hamrick just really struggling on this run. They were so fast in practice, so fast in qualifying. I wonder what they've done to this car to really affect it this much for this final run, but it doesn't look nothing like it did before in speed and handling.
That's such disappointing as a driver and a team. It probably wasn't a big change. I bet they made a small change, and the car just is not as good as it once was.
Yeah, these Xfinity cars go through big swings during the race. They'll start out and get looser and looser and then tighten up toward the end of the race. And all these races get, very tight at the end. The balance of the racetrack kind of shifts toward a very tight balance toward the end, and you have to kind of be ready for that.
And Junior, they've only made small air pressure adjustments. That's it. And they've asked Daniel trying to move up to the top. He said, guys, I'm not any quicker on the top. I'm just going to run this middle and run the bottom. That's basically where he's been for much of this run. Of course, this lap he moves up to the top, but very small changes on the 21 to your point.
You're going to have to check up a little bit right there on that corner exit, getting out there against that fence. I don't think he's got to worry too much about Sadler getting by him. Sadler talking about his car being tight. If you're tight, you ain't going to be able to pass a guy who's running the high side on the fence.
Yeah, you talk about Elliott Sadler. Remember, they were pitted running 4th, did 2 tires, so now running 3rd, got that track position. So right now, that 2-tire call, assuming this race ends like this, gained them 1 spot.
Absolutely. Hamrick just needs to take care of his car, keep it out of the fence. You never know, you might get a late yellow. Get an opportunity at stealing the win from the 42 car of John Hunter Nemechek.
It has to be a frustrating day for Daniel Hamrick as he's led 128 laps, currently running in that 2nd position. So close it seems once again to that first ever Xfinity Series win, but then so far away. Right now it's 5 seconds in front of him. John Hunter Nemechek running very good laps, has led 57 laps already with just under 7 laps to go.
Well, Rick, I think the big concern is we look at the playoff picture, the points on the left side of your screen. Plus 23 is decent, but for most of the race, it said advanced. It was a win. He was on to Miami. We saw how crazy the start of this race was. 23 points. Well, that's where the 7 and the 20 came in. They had that big of a points lead. 1 corner, 1 accident. You see Christopher Bell barely above the cut line and Justin Allgaier well below. So there's just no guarantee what's going to happen throughout this round.
Look at this battle right there. Top right, you see Elliott Sadler with a helmet cam.
Looking back at Elliott from Daniel's car.
But you said it, Junior. You can see why it's so hard to pass. You get a guy like Daniel Hamrick that's running that top, and the top's the preferred lane. It's, you know, even if you're a little bit quicker. I think the one car is. I think if the one car were in front of the 21, he would drive away from him, but it's just nowhere to go.
There isn't. There's nowhere to go, and Elliott has to run that little bit lower line just to get a little clean air and keep the balance of his car good and turning. He's not going to be able to make the pass, though, and he's going to have to hope that Hamrick actually has a problem, maybe gets into the fence a little bit or has to lift really hard on corner exit, misjudge the corner exit or something like that, maybe make a run on him that way, or find himself having difficulty getting through lap traffic. That could also give Elliott a possibility of making a pass, but otherwise I think if Hamrick just does what he needs to do, runs a smooth, calm pace, he will maintain this position to the end.
And it's under 4 laps to go. Again, the gap between 1 and 2, Nemechek and Hamrick, is 5.2 seconds. It's a lot closer between second and third. Elliott Sadler separated by 0.4 of a second. Listening to the 1 radio as Elliott Sadler's trying to catch that 21. That was Elliott Sadler, the veteran, in his final season of full-time racing in NASCAR. Struggling, trying to find that line. Under 2 laps to go. What an incredible turn of events it has been for John Hunter Nemechek. It looked as though he had given the race away when he slid into his pit box and just a bit too far, had to back up. Then they had to come back around, tighten lug nuts up. It looked as though the race was gone and not a chance. There's 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. But John Hunter Nemechek fought. He fought hard on the high side, was able to catch the 21 and then successfully get by. And now John Hunter Nemechek, as he enters turn number 3, looking for his first ever win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. The 21-year-old from Mooresville will win at Kansas.
You earned that one.
Hell yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Fire Alarm, for believing in me and all you guys. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, guys. Don't want to burn them down.
Great job, Shiplet.
John Hunter Nemechek, not a part of the playoffs. And all around him, it was playoff contenders all day long. The opportunity to punch the ticket to Miami was out there for Daniel Hamrick. John Hunter Nemechek was hungrier for this first win.
I'd say a big moment for the family as well. His father has put so much into helping John get to this point. Late models, Allison legacy cars, trucks, all those things his dad has owned, worked on, been part of. Spends hours working on those race cars for his son.
John Hunter Nemechek's put the hours in himself. That's a team on a very strict budget, and they have piled together the funding to be able to get this opportunity in top tier equipment, and you know that they wanted to capitalize.
And looking for the opportunities. You mentioned the fact this top tier equipment. When John Hunter Nemechek was not old enough to race at the 1.5 miles and the super speedways, his first celebration in the Xfinity car might go wrong here as the car backing down. He doesn't care. He's going to let it go. But his father would have to run at the 1.5-mile tracks in the super speedways because he wasn't old enough yet. But then when they would go to the short track, it was John Hunter Nemechek getting track time. Now he captures his first checkered flag in the Xfinity Series. Victory lane is coming up. It has been a family affair for the Nemecheks. Father Joe bringing John Hunter into victory lane with him, and now John Hunter Nemechek earning his first ever NASCAR Xfinity Series win, and it comes here at Kansas. And the team running into victory lane. Let's go there as well with Parker.
Here he is in victory lane. John Hunter Nemechek gets a sip of water there. Well, he's not going to drink it. Major Gatorade and confetti here. John Hunter, for all that your family has put into this, the family truck team of Hug with Mike Shiplett, what does this mean to you to get this win in the Xfinity Series?
Means a lot, especially at Kansas. In 2004, I forget how old I was, but Dad swept the weekend in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, so it's pretty special. But just huge thank you to Fire Alarm Services and Chip Ganassi Racing and Chip for giving me this opportunity. Man.
Any other win we've got, baby.
That's the spotter, Derek Newland there. A hug with Josh Wise, who helps him out. Hey, real quick there, when you slid through the box, did you think he'd given up there? Oh, and a hug from Chip. Chip Ganassi, the owner. Do you think he'd given up?
No, I knew that I had messed up, but I've done that once earlier this year, and Derek told me not to think about it, don't talk about it, just go out there and do your best. And when that caution came, I knew we had a chance, and luckily Daniel and I raced each other hard and clean all day, and we got the track position, and this thing was on rails at the end. So huge thank you to Mike Shiplett and all the guys that worked so hard. I feel like we've been contending for wins all year. We just haven't pulled through. So to check the first one off, that's the hardest one to get. So now hopefully we can go on, and we're racing for an Owners Championship in Homestead, so that's awesome.
Guys, what an impressive comeback for John Hunter Nemechek in this race. And as he said, this 42 car is going to be racing for an Owners Championship. That was their 6th win this season.
It has been a big win with different drivers behind the wheel. You look at the playoff leaderboard, and after the chaos that took place on lap 1, Christopher Bell 1 point above the cutoff line. Justin Allgaier 5 points below. Those two the favorites coming in to this round of 8. Cole Custer also caught up in that melee at the beginning, as well as Austin Cindric, 23 and 43 points below the cut line, respectively. Marty.
Well, another frustrating one for Daniel Hamrick to take, leading 128 laps today. What happened on the final restart and on that final run, Daniel?
I thought the restart really didn't go that bad. I was just stupid or loose that last run. I don't know if had a vibration there the last 15 laps. I don't know if a tire was equalized. I don't know. I just feel like I had 5 or more pounds right rear spring than I had all day. So I'm not sure what that's all about. As frustrated as I can be personally, this race team has a lot to be proud of because that's one of the best race cars I've ever had. And me and the 42 obviously were the class of the field, the cars that were actually able to race there after about lap 1. And just proud of everybody. The Southwind Hotel Casino Chevrolet. We just, I don't know, I just didn't have what he had that last run. I couldn't have done what he was doing. It was unbelievable how fast the thing was taking off. So still proud of our guys, proud of our pit crew that they rose the occasion the last 2 weeks, and proud of that. And we're going to roll on, but a good day overall for what we need to do right now, first rest.
As close as things have been the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks for this race team, you got to feel it's going to happen, the win soon.
Yeah, when it's supposed to, it will. It's got to have faith that it'll all work out the way it's supposed to, and that's what I'm going to lay my head down tonight thinking. Proud of these guys, and hey, guess what? We get to go do it again next week, and that's what it's all about.
An impressive run today for Daniel Hamrick, but not the win he was looking for.
Well, for a good part of this race, it seemed like Elliott Sadler, you were just out there kind of doing your own thing and running your own race. Till the end there, what was it like trying to hunt down the 21 on 2 tires?
Well, man, this was a wild race, which we've seen in the Xfinity Series the last couple of years. Always the first race of a round gets kind of crazy. So everything happened so quick, so fast, we kind of readjusted what we were trying to do. And then there at the end, Kevin made some great adjustments to the car and a good pit call there at the end to just try to get some clean air to see what will happen. But all in all, a really good weekend for our team, and we put our best foot forward, and we'll build on this going to Texas.
What's it like to walk away from this one, now second on the playoff grid, 14 points above the cut line?
Well, we still got to race hard. I mean, Christopher Bell and Justin have won so many races. They can easily go to Texas and Phoenix and win both of those races. So we know it's going to be tough. And, Matt ran very well today. My teammate Redick ran very good. So it's a lot of fast race cars up here. So to be second in points is great, but we still got a lot of work left to do.
Okay, it's a third-place finish today for Elliott Sadler.
Well, Cole Custer winds up being 19 laps down, but the most impressive part about his day is he did it all without any power steering. How in the world did you get that done?
I don't know. I didn't think I was going to make it after the first about 20 laps, but you kind of just find a way and get in a rhythm of it. But I just can't thank my guys enough. They worked really hard the whole day, and we couldn't fix it, but, it just is what it is. But, we'll move on to Texas and Phoenix, and we'll try and win a race. It's still not over. We still have 2 races to make it happen. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe the most impressive part of the day was you putting that tape on. Did that help out, that grip tape?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty big. I didn't have much of a grip before I had that grip tape, so that was pretty key for sure.
You find yourself back 23 now. Is it a must-win scenario in one of the 2 next races at Texas or Phoenix?
It's not a must-win yet, but it's definitely going to be close to that. I mean, we'll find out after Texas if it's a must-win, but we're going to have to make some magic happen to really put it in the playoffs. But I think we have fast enough cars to do it.
What a gritty performance by Cole Custer today.
Very gritty performance. Caught up in that first lap accident. You take a look at tomorrow on NBC. It'll be NASCAR America pre-race at 1:30, 2 o'clock countdown to green. 2:30, we'll be racing the Monster Energy Cup Series from here at Kansas, and post-race coverage at 5:30. As I mentioned, lap 1, 2 of the title contenders taken out in Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier. We would have never expected that, but the guys like Hamrick and Elliott Sadler taking advantage of that and getting as many points as they could.
Yeah, I really think that everybody that had an opportunity to take advantage of that did. Nobody made major mistakes. They were able to capitalize, earn some points, and now that makes Texas crazy. So so many people at Texas are going to have an opportunity to continue this, and then also some people are just going to have to win if they're going to advance.
All right, Junior, Steve, what about tomorrow? Are we going to see something like this in the Monster Energy Cup Series?
Well, this was just the start of the round for the Xfinity Series, and the start of the race was crazy. This is the finish of the round for the Cup Series, the cut race with some big, big names below the cut line. I expect the same sort of fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll see a crash on the very first lap of the race, but more than likely going to see some pretty good action all day long. This track really provides so much action, so much opportunity with the guys running all over the racetrack. There you see the leaderboard. Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney start in 4th and 5th place, and Clint Boyer is outside the top 10. That is an opportunity for those 2 guys to get some stage points in stage 1 and close that gap and point the way in after tomorrow. So
yeah, will anybody above the line fumble, right? Will anybody above the line make a mistake that will let those guys work themselves into the playoffs?
So much put on points, but at the same time, winning fixes everything. If you can win, you advance, and that's what they're looking to do tomorrow in the Monster Energy Cup Series. John Hunter Nemechek was able to get the win, his first ever in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. For more post-race coverage, go to NBCSports.com. Coming up next on NBC, it's local news, except on the West Coast.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.